Hello, my name is Liz Ashley and welcome to my channel. Sorry for the wait a little bit. I was not ready. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about all the updates in the Charlie Kirk stuff. So I apologize. On Wednesday I said this would be a fun day. It probably won't be, unfortunately. But before we get into everything, please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all the things to help me grow. All right. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about, all the updates and stuff in Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk about, what those memes on the bullets meant. There's some really good explainers out. We're going to talk about, basically, is it Groypers that did this? What, was I wrong? I think I might have been. I don't know. And so we're going to talk about that. And we're just going to get into all the things because life is crazy right now. And, yeah. So let's get into it. Oh, we're also going to talk about Ethan continuing to crash out and blame Taylor Lorenz and Hassan and everything for Charlie Kirk, which is crazy. So yeah, we're going to talk about all that today. And at the end, I'm hoping we can watch this funny little video that Trump made that I was going to watch on Wednesday. And as just like a fun little end of the stream. All right. Hello. Okay. So, Creflo, I found out my cousin is moving to Missouri and she said she's moving to a place near St. Louis called O'Fallon. Yeah. I know where that is. I think I know where that is. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Yay. We'll tell them welcome. We might get the National Guard sent here soon. So that sucks. That is something that happened in the midst of the chaos this week, is that actually the National Guard is going to be sent to Memphis. And I guess there's some like railroad executive that that asked Trump to send the National Guard to St. Louis, which I'm very upset about. And I gotta say, for so long, every time someone kept saying, hey, what about St. Louis? What about Memphis? What about New Orleans? I was like, please stop saying that. Please stop saying these things, because what you don't understand is you think they're not going to come here, but it's actually easier for them to come here because our governors will probably go along with it. Whereas J.B. Pritzker fought it and now he's not going to Chicago. With red states, they're going to let them do it. And so that's why I was like, please stop saying that, because it actually might be easier for him to come here. And unfortunately, here we are. There's actually a lot of scary stuff that's happening right now, but people aren't talking about it as much because of Charlie Kirk. And so I do want to talk about some of that stuff on Wednesday once I look a little bit more into it, because I know that they're like threatening birth control and stuff now, and there's some bill on the floor that Marco Rubio can like take away your passport if he doesn't like what you're saying. Really scary things happening right now. Really scary, just so many scary things happening right now, but I'll look more into those two things and talk about them more Wednesday. All right, so let's talk about Groypers. Now, in my video yesterday, I said that Groypers might be responsible for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I said that because they were like memes on the bullets and they're kind of associated with Groypers and stuff like that. And they're having like Groyper wars. And I kind of went through it today on YouTube, and now I'm seeing all these I'm seeing all these Groyper videos that they've made about the Groyper wars, and they're honestly very disturbing. And now that's become my algorithm, and it's very concerning, honestly. I gotta say, I was watching one. It was like a trailer of the Groyper wars, and I was like, oh my god! It's like, what is that? This is disturbing. This is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, so and they did have Charlie Kirk in it. Charlie Kirk, they had like this picture. They had two different pictures of Charlie Kirk, and he looked crazy in them. And yeah, so I don't know. That's that's what I saw today. But there's a really good explainer on TikTok about what the like memes and the bullets meant. So we're gonna watch that. But I've been watching a lot of people that have been saying it was Groypers, but then I've also been watching a lot of people that are like, there's not enough evidence. And so I don't know. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have put that. I wish I never knew what a Groyper was, honestly, truthfully. Like, it's so wild because when this happened, that was kind of my first thought. I was like, well, it's probably like a Groyper or like a Nick Fuentes acolyte because they've been going after Charlie Kirk. This is something that's been happening for a while, and it has kind of heated up in the past few weeks. Like, I know in the past few weeks, like the Vanguard and the Serfs, they've been covering like the kind of infighting between Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk, and they've been like talking about that for the last few weeks. And Nick Fuentes is such a like horrible person and such a horrible, like, Nick Fuentes is just like literally just horrible. And so I just don't like engaging in that. And I'm just like, whatever, who cares? Like, and unfortunately, I think we should start caring about that certain infighting. But, while it was happening in these last few weeks, I was like, I don't care. Like, who cares about Nick Fuentes? Like, whatever. I'm like, he's just like a horrible person. He's like the worst. And now those same people he was like going after are starting to like embrace him, which is a wild thing to see in real time. But like, so for weeks now, I have like, well, I mean, like, I don't want to really pay attention. I don't want to watch this, and maybe I should have, but, there are a lot of people, like, including Hassan, that have said like, there's not enough evidence yet. And, he's probably right. And so I don't know if I should take that video down or not, because like the whole point of the video was to basically talk about how every single time something happens in this country that like every time we have like a big tragedy or something happens in this country, the right wing creates a narrative, and it's always to blame leftists, recently to blame trans people and people of color, marginalized groups, and they just like attack. And then when the facts come out, sometimes it doesn't, that's not what it is 9 times out of 10. And there have been a lot of people who have done recent attacks that have been in these very far alt-right discords and stuff like that. And so I do think the point still stands, but and it's frustrating, I gotta say. Like, the reason I posted it is because I was so mad, and I should really probably take Threads off my phone because Threads has just been like, oh god, I was just going through it. And it's just so frustrating when you have a group of people telling you that like you're violent and there's something wrong with you and you guys are just so insane and blah blah blah, even though almost every single time there's been a school shooting, there's been a mass shooting, there's been different things like this, like the assassination in Minnesota. Like, they tend to be in these far right groups online, and no one has ever been like, we need to look into this ideology. No one has ever been like, we need to understand why they did this, and we need to try to combat this ideology. Like, that never happens. It just never gets talked about. It gets put under the rug, and we just don't care that all these kids just died, and it's frustrating when you have all of these people telling you that like you're the problem, even though you see the pattern right in front of you. And so I don't know, it's just like a very frustrating thing. And I think it's also like a personal thing, especially if you're like me and you live and you have like a conservative family. This is like a daily thing, right? Like, it's daily that you get told you're too to the left. Like, I'm getting like I've literally had people say that to me, like, like, I'm worried about you. You're to the left. You're too to the left. Like, you're getting too leftist, and I'm worried about you. And it like, it just like frustrates me, because I'm like, my views that you think are to the left are anti-capitalist views. They're not violent. They're not trying to take away rights. They're not trying to downgrade different people in society. Like they're not classist. They're not racist. That's not what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for things that to help people. And so when you constantly get told that you're all these things because you are calling out that, you know, you're calling out that like Trump is a fascist, you're calling this stuff out, and that's considered just like too leftist and too violent and too whatever. Oh, while you have people on Fox News saying, oh, we should just give lethal injection to unhouse people. And it's this imbalance in everyday life. And it's just like so frustrating to constantly have to be told one thing and like gaslit, and then see the reality in front of you, and you feel like nobody else can see the reality. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's how I was feeling when I made that video. And so that's why I was like, 9 times out of 10, these kind of attacks, these kinds of shooters are coming from these very alt-right places online. And we haven't like, and even the FBI had an investigation on that, had like, I think like a paper on it, and Kash Patel just took it off the website. And so it's like, it's a very frustrating time to try to decipher what's going on, because you have all these false things coming out from the people who are supposed to be giving you the facts. And so how are you supposed to believe what they're going to say? And I don't know. And so I've had a lot of anxiety, because I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have posted that video because I jumped the gun. Maybe I should have waited for more information. And I don't want to be one of those people that puts out misinformation, because that's not what I want to do, you know? And so, yeah, I don't know. So I just wanted to like talk about that real quick, because a lot of people are saying now that he might not be a Groyper. Now they're saying, the things that have been happening, it's very frustrating, because you listen to the governor of Utah, you listen to Kash Patel, you listen to Stephen Miller, and everyone has all these different things that they're saying. And then like 2 days later, it's like different, and it's not what's happening, and that's not real. And so what are you supposed to believe? Because now they're saying, well, the shooter had a trans roommate, and a roommate that was transitioning. And it's just like frustrating, because it's like, you keep trying to blame this on trans people. You keep trying to blame this on trans people. And it's just, oh God, it just makes me so upset, because trans people are 1% of the population, and everyone is like going after them. And I have trans people in my life. And so I think that's why I feel so strongly about this issue. And, you know, just a couple of days ago, they were like, oh, we should put a ban on firearms for trans people, which is like, listen, I want to put bans on firearms because I don't like them. And maybe that's because I've never liked them, and I did not grow up near them. I did not grow up learning how to use them. I think they're very dangerous, so I don't know. But to single out one group is just like that's again, like that is, it's against, well, I mean, it is against the Constitution, and it's against everything that they say they stand for. So I don't know. It's very, I mean, the NRA came out and said that they're not going to do it, but I think they're doing this on purpose, because this, if they try to prove that trans people are just inherently violent, like they like to say a lot about immigrants and people of color, they do that. They keep doing this, and they're just going to keep going down the line. They're just going to say, okay, trans people can't have guns now. Immigrants can't have guns now. These different people can't. And they're just going to keep going, and they're just going to keep taking away people's rights until we don't have any. And that's the problem, is and that's the problem. They're going to target trans people, and they're going to target them in these different ways, but it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep, it's just, I don't know, it's going to keep going. And it's just very frustrating to see it happening in real time, and then trying to combat the narrative of, oh, it's a trans person, it's trans ideology, when personally, in my opinion, obviously it was not. And so just very frustrating. That's all I gotta say. That's what I gotta say. Okay. Don't worry. You're definitely not too left. Thank you. The killer doesn't have to, well, no, not thank you. I don't, not thank you. I guess, I don't know. I didn't mean it like that. Cause I feel like I am pretty left, but I guess there's a lot of like stuff I still probably like could read and do the proper readings and stuff. The killer doesn't have to be a Groyper to wish attacking Kirk from the right. You're right. You're so right. Like they don't have to be a Groyper to attack someone from the right. Like it could, like I heard someone saying they thought it was like a neo-Nazi group because apparently neo-Nazis didn't like Charlie Kirk either. And, I don't know. There's so many different sects of alt-right online groups, and it's just like you can't like. They're very disturbing, honestly. Just going down the Groyper, like. Just looking at the different Groyper things online, it was very disturbing to me. I'm not even gonna lie. They have literal trailers online about like these Groyper wars. And Nick Fuentes, like they're talking about leftists and like the left calling people fascists and that's violent. Listen to what Nick Fuentes has been saying about Charlie Kirk. Like, just listen. Just listen. He said something, God, what did he say? It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was saying, he was like, I am going to be the one now. You're going to see. I'm going to beat you all down and I'm going to be the number one and I'm going to take. And I was like, bro, calm down. Calm down, okay? And that he's had this rhetoric for so long, but it just never gets acknowledged. And I think that's what I was trying to do in that video. It's frustrating when you have people that, when Melissa Hortman got killed and assassinated and the guy had 70 Democrats on his list and he was in neo-Nazi groups, nobody was like, let's get to the bottom of this ideology. Let's get to the bottom of why he did this. Let's get to the bottom of where he was and what groups he was in, what discords he was in, and let's see what that is. No one said that. Dana Bash wasn't over here like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure? And so it's just it's very frustrating to see in real time, and to feel like you're being like gaslit in real time, But we're gonna watch this explainer of the memes because he might not be a Groyper, but he might just be someone who is just like terminally online and just is very nihilistic and black-pilled, which I think it's very easy to get that way if you're terminally online. And I'm just saying that from my own experience, not like, I guess in the leftist way, I just get very frustrated, and I get like upset at a lot of different things. Okay, and I have to realize that not everybody knows what I know, and not everybody is constantly online and keeping up with all these different things, and so people in regular life I get frustrated with because I'm like, how do you not know this? How do you not realize this? But most people are not as online as us and most people, who watch YouTube and Twitch and all these things. Like most people are just not that online, so they don't keep up with a lot of these things. You are very passive. It's clear from your vibe. Thank you. He's gonna be the best that no one ever was. Honestly, it's crazy. Like it's just it honestly is crazy the shit that's happening right now. But let me bring up this video. And we're going to watch this video real quick. And let me... Oh, sorry. I did not... I was not prepared for this today. I told you, I have been on Threads and just like Instagram, and I have been so online this weekend, and it really was not good. like it really was not good. Everyone's like, oh, the algorithm does it, they want to rage bait you, and I have been rage baited to all hell, I will say. But I will say I haven't posted anything crazy. Not that the things that people were posting were crazy, because I don't think that they were, but I haven't posted anything crazy. So stay safe out there, you guys. Be safe and be mindful, because there is a dox There is a huge doxing organization right now going on the right, and they're taking like everything everyone is posting, even if they're not celebrating it or not, they're like literally doxing people, and it's really honestly psychotic. And so be careful out there, because they're losing their mind. They're losing their goddamn minds. Like, they're losing their fucking minds, man. Okay, let's see. All right, so let's okay, let's watch this and let's see. I don't know if, here we go. Okay.
That ended Charlie Kirk's life was engraved with a 12-year-old furry bashing meme. Notice his bulge, ooh woo, what's that? Which tells us an important thing. This assassination was a shitpost. That is the lens to analyze it through. Another of the casings references a video game, Helldivers 2, and a specific bomb that you could send on your enemies in the game with the command up, right, down, down, down. This command line sort of became a meme in image boards where it would be deployed to kind of represent, you know, ending an argument, but almost more so as just like, if you know, you know. And that sort of signals the in-group there. Another of the 4 casings references Bella Ciao, which is an Italian anti-fascist anthem from the World War II era that has stuck around and remained very popular online. It's been used both in left and right-wing political contexts, and it's used in a lot of video games. And then the 4th and final shell casing was engraved with, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. This was a shitpost. It was designed to be maximally disruptive and incomprehensible, cloaked in layer upon layer of irony so that nobody would know what he really meant unless they were our guy. This performs a kind of nihilism that plays really, really well on particular image boards and Discord servers where this guy spent most of his life. And I say most of his life because that furry meme is from 2013. He was 10 years old when it was first posted and became popular. He, like you and I, grew up alongside this part of the internet that trickled out through the other platforms that we went on and has actually informed and driven a lot of our politics. Half of the administration right now is content creators, and all of the guys who are wearing masks, going out on these deportation raids, the guys who are staffers of Republican members of Congress in these different executive departments, the guys who are 19 years old called in by Elon to doge things, these are all Reddit kids. These are all guys who were on 4chan in 2013, laughing at that furry meme. Now, the question everybody's asking is, was this kid a Groyper? And the question everybody's parents are asking is, what is a Groyper? So Groypers are the most extreme fringe of this kind of image board nihilistic culture that I'm talking about. They're led by Nick Fuentes, who is a content creator and a streamer, and they really are about transgressing any boundary that exists. They are like explicitly white nationalists, really bad, horrible people. The name Groyper originates from this variant of Pepe the Frog, which comes about in the late 2010s, and these guys adopt it as a kind of collective self-portrait. They make it their profile picture, they make it their moniker. There was the Groyper War of 2019, in which Nick Fuentes and his people trolled Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, showing...
That's what I was looking at. There are literal, like, video trailers that they made online, and, like, it's like, why? It's wild. It's wild. Like, they took this shit very seriously. And I didn't want to watch any of the videos because I'm not trying to invite that kind of shit into my life. But I watched them on my own, which is why my algorithm is so messed up now. And they're disturbing, to say the least. I just gotta say.
Up at these debate events and asking questions that would push Kirk to say things that were even more extreme than Kirk was already saying. So where Charlie Kirk took like one step toward these kind of white or Christian nationalist ideas, the Groypers took 2 steps. They demanded that he make the subtext text. One post people have been citing as proof of the Groyper hypothesis is this one from his mother's Facebook that shows him dressed up as a meme for Halloween. It seems like the meme is Gopnik Pepe, which is a 4chan meme to my understanding, but I don't quite associate it with Poll, which is like the political board on 4chan that most people are talking about it. I see it more as like a K meme, and sort of like a rare Pepe type thing. But again, like many Pepe or Groyper memes, the core of this is it's a lonely male figure in sort of an immiserated landscape looking sad. And that's part of the story I wish more people were talking about. What's driving our political violence isn't just polarization, where one side is getting more radical and kind of undermining democracy, nor is it algorithms, like some have said, that are like pickling the brains of young people. It is that feeling, which these Pepe memes represent, of you're always going to be alone, you're never going to have a future, and you're never going to have a voice. And that feeling, which is by no means rare or unusual in our society today, collides with a particular set of circumstances. This long entrenched nihilistic online tradition, the ready availability of firearms, and the increasing derangement of mainstream discourse, this ambient sense of like tension and volatility that exists in the air to produce stuff like this. And we're going to see more and more of it unless those root causes are addressed and unless we find a way to offer a better future to people.
Yeah, and I agree. I think, let me go back up. Yeah, I agree. I think, no Fed posting. Yeah, no Fed posting. No Fed posting. I agree. I think a lot of this, of course, comes out of guns and everyone having guns. And of course, as we saw, I think his mom tried to delete the pictures on Facebook, which is kind of wild, but he knew how to shoot these guns. He was introduced to them at a young age. Like he had these big ass guns. And I do think a lot of it is also gun culture. And I don't think we tackle that enough in America, because gun culture has just permeated our entire it is America. That's how people see America, is gun culture, is guns. And that's so harmful. And so when you're growing up and you feel like shit has hit the fan, because it has, like a lot of these people who do get radicalized think, oh, well, I'll just, we have these guns. And a lot of them too, it's not. And that's why I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said Groyper or whatever. Because a lot of them, it's not necessarily political. It's not necessarily political. It's also trying to make a name for themselves because they look up to a lot of these other shooters. Like, there's an article I have that we'll look at in a second, but the shooter in Colorado who happened I think it was an hour after Charlie Kirk got shot, the mass shooting at the school in Colorado, he was a white nationalist, and he got very radicalized online. And I was going somewhere with that, but then I totally forgot. ADHD. But I remember I was going with that. But he also, apparently he looked up to the shooter of Columbine. And so I do think that a lot of the people online who have gotten radicalized, even if it's not political, they look up to a lot of these shooters and they see it as a way to be known or get themselves known. I think another person was saying a lot of these guys in these discords, in these alt-right discords, in these nihilistic discords, they tend to want to outperform for each other, and they want to impress each other. And this is something that they, that's a way in which they think they could impress each other, because they look up to people, they look up to all these different mass shooters, and they idolize them. And so I think it could be a myriad of things. And it really could be a million different things. And apparently Tuesday he's going to be in court. So hopefully we get to know more. But unfortunately, this extremely online culture, I don't think mainstream media and the people in power are going to be able to decipher that if he doesn't tell them. And apparently he's not cooperating. So if he's not cooperating, then how, then I don't know if this is ever going to be fully figured out, because I don't think a lot of the people in power are going to be able to decipher what is going on and decipher basically his motive. But apparently he hated Charlie Kirk. We just don't know if it was from the right or the left. And that's what's frustrating. David Schuster did say that it was from the right, but now you have the governor going on Dana Bash saying it was from the left. And so the governor went on Dana Bash and said it was from the left. He said that he had a trans roommate, but they were cooperating. And then almost insinuating that that's what Fox News is doing right now. They're insinuating that if this roommate is trans, that they radicalized him, and they're the reason that he went out and did that shooting. But apparently they didn't know anything about what was happening and was shocked when he got arrested. And so I don't know how much I trust I don't trust Kash Patel at all, personally. Anything like, they're like, oh, well, the FBI said it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't listen. If Kash Patel is telling me something, I gotta tell you, I don't really believe it. I don't really believe it, because Kash Patel has been saying a shit ton of things that have come out 2 days later to be not true. Kash Patel is incompetent and is obviously not doing a very good job. And so, God, the fact that Kash Patel, a freaking podcaster, is the head of the FBI is just like so infuriating to me on so many levels, because that's another reason why I don't think we might not even get the truth on this, because everything has been first of all, because they've lied so much in the beginning. Now people like me don't trust them. And also, yeah, the governor is a POS. Yeah, he is, because he literally was like, I was praying it wasn't one of us. I was praying it wasn't one of us. And then he's like, it turns out it was. And then he got a call from Donald Trump. And apparently Donald Trump's over here telling him, oh, hey, it's, you know who it is. And he said this on live television. He said that Donald Trump, they were like, you know who it is. You know that they're leftist. You know that they're radical. And I'm like, why are you saying this, right? Like why? Why are you saying this right now? But at least Dana Bash was like, well, can you give us more specifics about like why, you think they're a leftist? Because apparently this is just coming from friends and family. Him himself has not said anything. He has not said anything. He's not cooperating. And so he is just saying shit. He's speaking on two sides of his mouth. He's like, I want to, and I've seen a lot of people be like, oh my God, he's amazing. He's saying we should de-radicalize and we should, talk and da-da-da. But like, he's also on Dana Bash saying, no, it's a leftist. It's a leftist. And then when she keeps asking him more questions and tries to dig in deeper, he's like, well, I don't know. I don't really know. I can't divulge anything. Well, then what? Oh, sorry. Then what are you saying? Then like, what are you saying? Then why are you saying this stuff? It seems a little premature, and it's a little it makes me a little skeptical that Donald Trump called him and talked to him for like an hour, And so there's so many things in this case that are just so frustrating, and it feels just like a mass gaslighting campaign from it does. It just feels like a mass gaslighting campaign to all of us that are like, look, the bullets are like all right meme bullets. And yet everyone is like confusing this. And then just because maybe he lived with a trans person, maybe, we don't even know if that's true, maybe that's why he's radicalized. Yeah, it does. It feels like a mass gaslighting campaign, honestly. Like, that's what it feels like every day of my life. Kash Patel, don't believe Kash Patel. Look at his eyes. I don't blame you. Kash Patel effing sucks. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I don't know. It means nothing. It's a way to pass history for them. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are talking about that too. All the different right wingers who have been reacting to this. It's so fake. Like, a lot of them, I don't think actually cared. Like, and I don't know if this is real. It might not be real, but apparently Steven Crowder, on his like description on his Rumble show, it said like number 2 on Rumble, and then he moved it to number 1. I don't know if that's true. It could be false, but if that is true, that's insane. That's insane. And like Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer, they were just talking shit about him, and now they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And so it's like a lot of the right wingers who are taking this and like saying, oh, this is war, oh, we're gonna get you back, we're gonna do all these things, like didn't even really like him when he was alive. And so it's like weird to see them doing this. And but Candace Owens is like the only one that like actually cared about him and like actually was friends with him, because everyone else is like just like declaring war, going off on everyone, trying to further the propaganda, and Candace Owens is like actually grieving. So I think for a lot of them, this was just like an opportunity for them to further their propaganda. And yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up this article that we're gonna talk about, and we're going to look at the Colorado shooter. Okay, so let's see. Actually, I don't know if it's, sorry. I'm trying to, oh yeah, here we go. Okay. So here is that. So we're going to talk about the shooter. So there was a school shooting at like the same exact time. Not the same, it was like an hour later after Charlie Kirk got shot. And police say that the shooter, this school shooter, was a part of this extremist network and may have influenced the Colorado high school shooting. And so I wanted to talk about this mainly because, like I said in the beginning, a lot of people are going like, he's a leftist, this is leftist shit, and like, you know, a lot of people, you know, we don't know. I probably jumped the gun too soon saying he was a Groyper, but I just want to point this out because this is behind a lot of the shootings recently. This is behind a lot of the things, the school shootings, a lot of the mass shootings. There was Melissa Hortman, her shooting. A lot of these people are in these extremist networks. Now, the police are not saying what extremist network, which is a little bit frustrating because, like I said, it's that balance of like, you know, when people think it's a leftist, they're like, we need to get down to this ideology. We need to look into it and we need to figure it out. And that needs to be our number one priority. And then when it comes to this, they're like, well, we don't want to say what network he was in. You know, we don't want to do that yet. And it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Police suspect a teenage gunman who carried out a school shooting in Colorado this week was radicalized before injuring 2 fellow students. The gunman behind this week's school shooting in Colorado was radicalized by an extremist network, authorities say in Jefferson County. Authorities in Jefferson County said Thursday. The statement from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office didn't get into details about how a white 16-year-old named Desmond Holley was radicalized before he shot and wounded 2 students at Evergreen High School and then later died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But local media outlets have looked over social media accounts that appear to be Holley's that suggest he shows interest in Nazism, Holocaust denial, white supremacy, and previous school shootings, including the 1999 massacre nearby Columbine. According to Denver Post, in one photo posted on TikTok 5 days ago, Desmond appears to be wearing a black t-shirt with the word wrath written in red across his chest, similar to what one of the attackers wore in 1999 massacre at Columbine High School, also in Jefferson County. The same post also includes an image of a 15-year-old who killed 2 people and injured 6 more at Madison, Wisconsin in December. The accounts also include references to Holocaust denial, and the name of one of the accounts appeared to end with a reference to a prominent white supremacist slogan. That account has reposted several videos showing school shooting scenes from movies, as well as another video that appeared to show the 2 Columbine shooters taking target shots at bowling pins. Other videos the account reposted were explicitly anti-Semitic or depicted people in Nazi uniforms. The Colorado Sun also conducted a review of social media accounts apparently connected to the shooter and reached similar conclusions about the factors that seem to have radicalized this shooter. After a school shooting in Minneapolis last month, Fox News host Trey Gowdy drew MAGA fury for endorsing some gun safety measures and making the data-backed claim that the overwhelming majority of school shootings in the U.S. have been conducted by a young white male, which is true. And that's the problem, is like they're really trying to, like the right wing and Fox News is really trying to pin this on trans people, which means that I am very scared for what they're trying to do right now to trans people. Like, I'm honestly actually very terrified because the rhetoric has amped up and they're really trying to make people see them as like inherently violent or like there's inherently something wrong with them, and it's a very scary thing, and I'm honestly terrified because the way they're going is they don't want them to exist. You know, they don't want trans people to exist, and I think that's their end. And a lot of centrists or libs who buy into this, who end up throwing trans people under the bus, are helping with this. And they think that they're just being reasonable, or that they're just being populist or whatever, but they're not. They're helping the right wing go after trans people, and they're helping them get to that end. And it's really scary, and it's really terrifying. And it's very frustrating for me. Having trans people in my life, it's like very frustrating for me to think about and to see every day. I get very upset. Okay, Wednesday school shooting in Denver. Well, no, but mostly they are young white males, and mostly they end up being neo-Nazis or on these alt-right places online. But we never talk about that. We never get into that because the dominant media in this country doesn't talk about it, that wants to act like this isn't real, and then they blame mental health, but then want to do nothing about mental health. And so it's just this constant circle that we're going in over and over and over again, and it just keeps getting worse each time everything happens. Everything just keeps getting worse, and we're never addressing the actual issue here, which are a few things, which are guns. 1000%. If we address that, it would cut down on this a lot if we banned assault weapons and have better gun reform. But also, looking like how do we de-radicalize neo-Nazis? Like, how do we do that? How do we unradicalize people like that? I don't know, but it's something that we should be focused on. But instead, the FBI and Kash Patel are deleting the research off of the FBI website, which is crazy, which again is why I don't trust what they're saying. And it's like frustrating because you have some like liberals and people in the center who are like, well, we have to trust official sources, but the official sources haven't been right either. They've also been telling lies. So like, what are we supposed to believe? Wednesday school shooting in Denver played out at the same time as the fatal shooting of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk, one state over in Utah Valley University. As of Friday, the motive in that shooting remains unclear, but coupled with the arrest of a suspect, another young white male. Recent conversations about the threat of radicalization of white youth in the U.S., particularly of young men, feel newly urgent. And that's the other thing. Everyone's like, oh, this is so urgent. We need to figure this out. And I'm like, this has been happening, though. This has been happening, and no one has cared. This has been happening. Children have been dying all the time. This has been happening. This has been a problem. And nobody has cared. Nobody has cared. But this has been a problem. People have been screaming from the rooftops that this is a problem. And it just doesn't, no one seems to care. And the frustrating part about this is, even though people seem to care now, I don't think there's actually going to be substantially anything done, because what they're going to do is they're going to go after trans people, and they're not going to actually fix the root of the problems that we have. And so this shit is just going to keep getting worse because we're not addressing it at all. And so this shit's just going to keep getting worse, and they're going to keep blaming marginalized groups, even though 9 times out of 10, they're not the people who are doing this shit. So it's just, God, that's what I'm saying. It's easy to feel nihilistic. It's easy to get black-pilled because you just see this happening every day, and you're like, what the fuck, man? And then when you're a leftist and you try to talk out about it, and you try to dispel all of this, you get told you're crazy and you're a lunatic and there's something wrong with you. And it's a very isolating thing, which is why I think most people turn, to online, which is what I do. There's this one conservative guy who's in the chat right now who consistently keeps commenting on my videos, which I think is funny, because I'm like, okay, dude, why do you hate watching me? Literally no matter what I do, he comments on it. I don't know them, but they comment on it. Okay, they use Cold Feet Crowder as a source info, though. Honestly, yes, they do. Okay. Sorry, it's just funny when people are in your comments like that. Okay, so the next article we're gonna read is we're gonna actually read some of the Discord messages that Tyler Robinson said in his Discord. Actually, like after he killed Charlie Kirk. So we're going to talk about that right now. So after Kirk's killing, a suspect joked that his doppelganger did it before he was arrested on suspicion of carrying out the assassination. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson sent friends messages showing that he was closely following the news about the killing. Also, just to respond, did you just misgender me? I don't know if I did. I apologize if I did. That's why I said I don't know who you are, and I said they. I have misgendered a friend before in the past, and I still feel really bad about it. And people corrected me, and you know what I did? I didn't get upset. I let them correct me. So I'm sorry if I did. And that's why I corrected myself. Anyway, they were saying that that I'm just like wrong, and that's why he was a radical leftist. Personally, I don't think this person is a radical leftist. That's just my personal opinion. I think most people who are on the left, I don't think they really know those memes. I didn't until I knew like the LMAO, you're gay one, and then I think I knew the anti-furry one too. But I think just from my personal opinion, I don't think they're gonna be a radical leftist personally. But they could be someone who we're going to talk about right here who is doing this on purpose. He wants to confuse people on purpose. He wants to be confusing on purpose. Helldivers is loved on the left. Okay, well then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. And maybe I'm just I don't do gamer stuff. I'm not a gamer. So that's why I don't know. But okay, so then maybe I am wrong. But I think you know what, man? At least I admit when I'm wrong. Okay, I'm not gonna dwell on this for much longer. But no, I do see your comments, and I have responded to a couple of them, but I don't like responding typically because I know it's just trolling. And and we're not really trying to have a discussion, and you're not really trying to understand where I'm coming from. And so but no, what I think personally, the more I'm getting, like, the more I learn and the more I see about this, I really do think that this person was trying to stir confusion and was trying to start shit. And I think that maybe their political views are incoherent, which would make sense because that's also happened. That's also a part of this irony pilled nihilistic shit is that their politics aren't in one box. They're not in the typical Democrat, Republican, leftist, conservative box, and they seem to be somewhat incoherent. And so I do think it could be that too. I think this could be on purpose. Like the explainer earlier was saying, I do think that maybe he's doing this because this is like a meme to him, and this is just like shit posting to him, and that's all this was. And it was to stir chaos and division, and that was the purpose of it. And so I do think that is a possibility too. Just wants attention. Yeah, I know. I know, but the right loves it too. They don't get the major sarcasm tone. Yeah, no. And that's the whole part of like the Groypers and stuff like that, is like it's very irony pilled, and like they don't understand that they actually are the bad guys in the situation. And so I don't know. I do think that there are a lot of different things that it could be. So, at least at least I feel bad, and I'm willing, at least when I think I made a wrong judgment or said something wrong, I feel bad about it, and at least I say it, and at least I correct it, and at least I talk about it, and I don't continue trying to go along with that just because, so yeah. That's just not who I am. But anyway, let's get to this, because this is what we are going to talk about. All right. So let's talk about the Discord messages that he sent after he killed Charlie Kirk. So the day after Charlie Kirk was killed, an acquaintance of Tyler Robinson posed a question to him in a group chat. The FBI had just released 2 grainy surveillance images of a skinny young man in a cap and sunglasses walking in a stairwell on the Utah Valley University campus and had asked for the public's help to identify the suspect, tagging Mr. Robinson's username on Discord, a messaging platform. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like a lot, like... I need to make a Discord. I am going to make a Discord soon. But that's besides the point of all of this. A lot of like mainstream media don't even know what Discord is. And so this is the other thing in all of this is this is such online shit that like nobody really knows what's going on. Okay. So tagging Mr. Robinson's username on Discord, a messaging platform, the acquaintance attached the images and wrote, "Where you at?" They had to explain. They had to explain the W. The YWA. Okay, sorry. It's just like it's actually not funny. It's actually very concerning that like such terminally online shit has now become like deadly, and like it has been for a while now, but it's just like it is just like very concerning that this is where we are right now. Very concerning. But okay, so tagging Mr. Robinson's username on Discord, a messaging platform, the acquaintance attached the images and wrote, "Where you at?" With a skull emoji, suggesting that Mr. Robinson looked like the man being sought after. Mr. Robinson replied, he's his doppelganger, he wrote, trying to get me in trouble. Well, that's... yeah. Okay, and then someone else said, "Tyler killed Charlie," another user wrote, apparently in jest. Well, see, and that's why I think that like this, I forgot who said it, but there was another person on TikTok who said that really a lot of this is just to impress the other people in the Discord and just to impress all these other people, you know, in that circle. And I actually do think that that's probably true. And because I do think that a lot of these people who do these mass shootings or these shootings, they look up to the past people who have done it. And so they're really trying to like impress everybody else who also looks up to them. And I feel like that kind of shows that, you know. That was on Thursday afternoon around 1 p.m. local time. It was not until later that night, nearly 34 hours after the shooting, that Mr. Robinson was arrested on suspicion of carrying out the assassination of Mr. Kirk 31, a conservative pundit whose killing has inflamed the political world. The Discord messages were the clearest glimpse yet of the suspect's demeanor in the hours after the killing. They were shared with the New York Times by someone who knew Mr. Robinson in high school and had kept up with him in the group chat, which includes about 20 different people, but said he had not seen Mr. Robinson in person for years. He spoke on the condition that his name not be used, fearing harassments for being acquaintance of the suspect. Yeah, that was probably a good decision. Lots of people are getting harassed right now, and it's crazy. The Times independently verified that the person who shared the screenshots attended high school with Mr. Robinson and found other indications that they knew one another. The screenshots were shared at the request of the Times. Discord declined to confirm Mr. Robinson's username, but it matches several other accounts that he used elsewhere online. Yeah, apparently like Discord has said that they hadn't, like, he didn't say anything about it in Discord and nothing like that, and that they took him off Discord. But they're not being too like, I don't know if they're actually like showing anybody, and I think the FBI like explicitly isn't like showing anybody his Discord messages, which is a little weird. But yeah, so this whole Discord, the Discord messages thing is really weird. Like I'm glad that like that the New York Times got them, because if not, I don't think that they would be released. But we'll see. Again, he's going to be in court on Tuesday, so who knows what's going to happen between now and then. The suspect is expected to be formally charged by local prosecutors on Tuesday. Yeah. It was not clear on Saturday if he had a lawyer. The messages do not shed light on possible motivation for the shooting, which has been fiercely debated by people trying to ascribe blame to political side. A police officer who wrote an affidavit that Mr. Robinson had recently discussed Mr. Kirk's upcoming event in Utah with family members, and that the two had talked about why they didn't like him. And that's what's so confusing to me about this, because like, you know, all these like family and friends are saying, oh, well, he's a leftist, but then his grandma saying, no one in my family is like, the grandma seemed very upset that they were calling him a leftist, and the grandma was like, no, we're all conservative, like, don't call him a leftist. So that's why when the governor went on Dana Bash and said, well, we talked to his friends and family and he's a leftist, I don't automatically believe that, because other people that they have been listening to have been getting it wrong. And so that, you know, and he's not cooperating, so he's obviously not telling them why. And I think that's the whole purpose of this. The whole purpose of this was not for us to understand why. It was for the people who are in his whatever group he was in. It's for people in that group to understand, and that's it, you know, because it's a shitpost. Is basically essentially what he was trying to do, I think. People who knew Mr. Robinson over the years said that he was extremely intelligent, followed current events, and spent much of his time online or playing video games. He was registered to vote, was not affiliated with any political party, and appeared to have never voted in an election. His parents are both registered Republicans. On Sunday, Governor Spencer Cox in Utah, yeah, this is what I'm saying today, in a television interview said that Mr. Robinson had a leftist ideology, but he also cautioned that it could take time for an exact motivation to emerge. See, and that's why I'm getting so frustrated with the Utah governor. Like, I'm actually getting very frustrated. I am getting so frustrated with him, because he's like, we need to tone down the rhetoric. We need to talk. We need to do this. But then he's out here. He's like, well, it is a leftist ideology, and I know that. And then you interrogate it deeper, and he's like, well, I don't actually know. And you're okay, then why are you saying things? Then why is the FBI and you just coming out here saying things that are not true? And this is well, not that they're not true, but that you don't know, that you're not sure of, and this keeps happening. That's all this case has been for like the past few days. It has just been a drip of misinformation, and then all these different people having to redo their statements and like take things out of their articles, and it's like it's so frustrating. And I think that's also why it's hard to like talk about this and try to have a coherent view on it, is because it feels like there's essentially like no facts of the case except for the bullets, which is why a lot of people are like leaning towards the Groyper meme, alt-right meme area, because that's where they can come from. That's where some of them have come from. All right. After Mr. Robinson joked that the gunman was his lookalike, another user suggested that the group could turn Mr. Robinson in and get a $100,000 reward that the FBI was offering, only if I can get a cut. Mr. Robinson responded. Someone posted, whatever you do, don't go to McDonald's. And then Mr. Robinson agreed and offered a supposed joke of his own, writing, better also get rid of the manifesto and an exact copy rifle I have laying around. So I wonder, does he have one? I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know. I don't know if he has a manifesto, if that was just a joke. Who knows? Apparently there was a note. Dana Bash was asking the Utah governor about, and I haven't heard this actually, but Dana Bash was asking the Utah governor about that today. She was like, do you have a note? Apparently there's some note. And he's like, well, I can't talk about that yet. So now I'm like, wait, there's a note? So I'm very skeptical about like, honestly, everything that they're saying. When another user suggested that the killing of Mr. Kirk would lead to President Trump to send the National Guard to Utah, the suspect replied in a red state, nah, clearly the shooter was from California. See, that's what I'm saying. This whole thing is just like a joke to him. Like, this whole thing, I think, is just like a joke to him, and he's joking about it. And like, I think this whole thing is really just like a meme to him, and the whole thing was, I really do. Around that time, several news outlets reported that ammunition found near a rifle at the scene included engravings referencing transgender ideology. The truth ultimately was that the engravings included the phrase, "Hey, fasters catch," and they keep taking out the arrow. So there's arrows in that too, and the arrows in there, this is, listen, I don't know about hell divers. I know the Chosen One does, so if I get this wrong, tell me. But I know that, like, from watching a lot of different people and looking at it, that those, and the guy that we were just listening to, those arrows are basically throwing a bomb on your opponent in the game, kind of near just like ending the game and ending the conversation, and like that's it. And apparently the "Hey Fascist" catch comes from the game is like a fascist game where you live in fascism, but they kind of promote it as a democracy, and then but I don't know if you are the fascist or if you're fighting against fascists, but so that's why the whole like "Hey Fascist" catch thing isn't necessarily that he's calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. It's like a part of the lingo in the game, I believe. But also people like Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer have called Charlie Kirk a fascist. And so a lot of people are saying, well, that's why it's leftist ideology, because he says, "Hey Fascist" catch. But a lot, like even Donald Trump has called Kamala Harris a fascist. So I don't think that necessarily makes him, I don't think that necessarily determines if he's a leftist either. Wait. Okay. Hey, Aussie. Okay, 1 second. Wait. Okay. A community of lone wolves. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay, we're just the fascist catch hard to get. Okay, the fascist catch is hard to get for a normie. I'm not saying he is honest though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it and it's hard. It's hard for me because I'm like, when I first heard it too, I was like, oh shit, like what the fuck. And then when I learned more about it, I was like, okay, so maybe it's just like some meme or something. I don't know. Because I don't watch Helldiver, so I don't know. Okay, I don't know how to ban him. I don't know how to do that. But if someone wants to ban him, they can. I don't know how to do that. I need to learn. I really need to look into that. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. All right. Okay. As well as lyrics from an anti-fascist Italian folk song and a reference to sexual meme about a bulge. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the way they're describing it is like very minimalistic, because I don't think mainstream media these are very confusing memes to understand, and it's on purpose. Like, it's the irony posting, like this is on purpose. This is supposed to be confusing. This is supposed to be whatever he had in his mind that it meant is what it meant. And I don't think it was really supposed to be decipherable for us. And I think that was on purpose. And so hopefully we'll learn more on Tuesday when he goes to court, or when he gets his sent. I don't know. I guess is there going to be a trial? Because he turned himself in. I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll learn more on Tuesday. But when they say a reference to a sexual meme about a bulge, it's a transphobic and anti-furry meme. And so that's another reason why people thought it was like trans ideology or whatever, but it's actually the opposite. And then same with the, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. Like, I think that's also like an anti-gay meme. And so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Yeah. It doesn't. It just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. But at the time, before the exact phrasing of the engraving was publicly known, the suspect sent messages that suggested he was closely following the news. I heard the ammo had something about trans stuff on it, but they aren't releasing the photos or exact quotes, he wrote. He added, and also they claim it wasn't backed by the official FBI, just some dude in the briefing room. God, that's so wild that even he knew it. It's just so this whole thing is just so insane. It's just so insane. Utah's governor said in the television interview on Sunday that a person previously described as a roommate of the suspect was in fact a boyfriend who was transitioning to become a woman, and he said that the person was fully cooperating and was shocked by what happened. Again, I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to say it's true because I don't know, but to say that just because if that person really was their boyfriend, or if they really were trans, that he suddenly could not be alt-right is not true, because Alex Jones famously has been very into trans corn. Nick Fuentes himself, there was this whole rumor about him and Destiny. And then also, didn't Nick Fuentes have like, wasn't there rumors that he had like a boyfriend or something? Isn't there like, there's like a whole separate thing about like catboy femme memes or something. Listen, I am a very terminally online person, but I'm not that terminally online. Like, I know about him and Destiny, and like I know about that kind of stuff, and I know about Groypers, but I don't know about like the even deeper kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about the rest of it, but there's a lot to this. And there's so much lore to this that it's very confusing for probably everyone and normal people to understand what is going on. Oh my God, a cat boy. Okay, thank you. TB USA. Oh, okay. I don't know how to ban this person, and I wish I did. Like, I really want to, but I don't know how. It's very frustrating. Okay. Okay. You're so far radical left. You're a conspiracy theorist. Okay, I need to stop responding to him. But I'm like, that's the funny thing is like, I'm literally sitting here being like, I was wrong to say that he was a Groyper so fast because I don't know if because now I'm like, I don't know if he was. And I'm like admitting that this is confusing and we don't know everything yet. And now it's like that. So, I mean, it's so insane. Oh my God. Okay, whatever, bro. This is more funny than anything, honestly. Okay, so there's a couple other videos that I wanted to watch. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Because we're going to watch something. Okay, so see, and Nick Fuentes was getting very, there's a lot of stuff that I clicked. There's like the meme war, there's Nick Fuentes. Okay, what are we gonna watch? Okay, let's watch this, actually. Let's watch this. This is in London, and London actually had like this huge march after this happened.
For world news now, overseas violent clashes on the streets of London as tens of thousands of people marched at a massive anti-immigration rally. NBC's Ross Sanchez reports.
Tonight, more than 100,000 people joining a far-right protest in the heart of London. Organizers say the demonstrations, dubbed Unite the Kingdom, are calling for freedom of speech and tighter border controls.
They need to stop illegal.
Honestly, it's like, the other thing that's been quite concerning recently is just how many other countries are starting to have similar outlooks as America, and how our rhetoric and our brain rot is being imported over there. And it's very concerning, I gotta say. Now, this is something that's been going on in the UK for a while now. There have been rising anti-immigrant sentiment in the UK for a minute now. But this happened. I think this did happen because they decided to do this after Charlie Kirk had passed. And I think this is actually something that is getting a lot of traction in the UK, and a lot of people in the UK are like very upset about this. And so it's just interesting to see how a different country is reacting. But I haven't watched the Cavernacle video on it, but I know the Cavernacle has a video on how the UK is responding to this and the rising anti-immigrant sentiment in the UK.
Migration into this country.
But some of the protesters turning violent, clashing with police. Authorities say 25 people were arrested. The rally, organized by far-right activist Tommy Robinson.
Look at these crowds, man.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, it's terrifying.
He's been jailed several times, but has powerful backers, including Elon Musk.
Oh my God, of course. Oh my God, of course. God, what? Oh my God. We're going to talk about him too. We're going to talk about him and him going after Hassan, because him going after Hassan and Ethan going after Hassan, that's what we're going to talk about next. But God, Elon he is behind everything that is bad. Like him and Peter Thiel, man. Something is there something bad happening? Is there something crazy happening? Is there something just like horrible happening? Look no further than Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. Oh my God. Okay.
Happening is a destruction of Britain. Initially a slow erosion, but a rapidly increasing erosion of Britain with massive uncontrolled migration.
Several thousand counter-protesters also turned out. But their numbers just a fraction of the nationalist rally.
Yeah.
A reminder of the...
I saw those pictures of the women out there protesting. Good for them. Oh God, this is so terrifying.
far-right's growing appeal across Europe.
And this isn't Musk's first intervention in UK politics. He's repeatedly attacked the Prime Minister here.
To start a podcast...
Oop, okay. Yeah, it's terrifying. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's terrifying to see that kind of crowd. It's terrifying to see that kind of crowd because... Like, I think a lot of the reasons that people are upset is because of inflamed rhetoric and, of course, this demonization of immigrants and everything like that. But I feel like it's also, especially in America, but people's material needs aren't getting met. And everywhere around the world, I feel like there is a good amount of nihilism just because of everything that's happening. You know, you have this increased violence everywhere, and there's a genocide going on, and none of the major governments are doing anything about it. They're not listening to anyone about it. They don't care. And when you feel like you're not being listened to, or when you feel like your needs are not being met, I think people lash out. And when people like Elon Musk are paying people to have this rhetoric of, we need to hate trans people, we need to hate immigrants, and they're the reason for your problems, even though they're not, that's how this happens. And it's very frightening to see how many people, and it's frightening, one, in America, because I feel like in America our baseline is conservatism, and I think that's why you saw so many people that who aren't political like talk about this now, because I think in America our baseline is just conservatism. What we're taught in school is very whitewashed about history in America. We're not taught fully what happened to the Native Americans and the genocide that happened to the Native Americans. We're not fully taught all of the horrors of slavery. We're not fully taught all the horrors of the Jim Crow era and how many terrorist acts that were happening back then in that were happening to Black communities. And so we're not told all of the gruesome details growing up as a kid, specifically in America. And so I think that just the foundation of everyone and just the dominant narrative is conservative. It's conservatism. And so it's frustrating to sit here and try to explain that, like, trans people are not the problem. Just because you might not understand does not mean that they're the problem. They're not the reason that you can't afford to buy a house. They're just not. Immigrants are not the reason you can't afford to buy a house. They're just not. And so to see so many people just like fall into this thinking and propaganda because people like Elon Musk are posting it is terrifying. It's terrifying. And I think it's terrifying for the future because I feel like there are so many places in this country who are going towards fascism. It's not just America. And it's a scary thing to look at. It really is. I mean, it's a scary thing to pay attention to personally. But yeah, so that's what's going on in the UK. Everyone just block them on. Yeah, please. I'm still seeing it, but yes, please. Please block him. I'll have to do it on my YouTube when I get off here. I did streams ago, but I should have that power too. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I need to figure it out. I don't know how to do it. I'm in Streamlabs and I don't know how to do it in Streamlabs. I'm trying to like click on the person, but I don't know. I think I might have to do it in YouTube, so I'll do that after this. Okay, so let's see. Now we're going to talk about Elon Musk and his Twitter and everything that's going on with him, and him going after Hassan, which is terrifying. Him and Ethan have been going after Hassan. And it's been a little crazy because Hassan was supposed to debate Charlie in a couple weeks, and I was actually really excited for that. Like, I put it on my calendar. I was going to live react. Like, I was like, when I first heard they were going to debate, I was like, oh my God, yes. Because I knew Hassan was just going to like demolish him. You know, I don't know. I feel okay. I just feel like Hassan was going to do so well. And so I was like so excited. And now, because he was the one who was supposed to debate him, and because he's the only like other kind of, he's like the opposite of him, I guess, in a sense, and he has some notoriety and everything like that. And so a lot of people are starting to come after him and are saying he is the reason, which is terrifying because he has actually had very good takes about all of this. He has said that we need to have radical empathy, which has been very difficult. Like that's been, having radical empathy has been a difficult thing for me in these past few days. But you know, that's what he's been saying, and he's been talking about it. And I do think like he has been, you know, he hasn't said anything like super violent or anything. He's been really good on this. They called Elon normal. A lot of times the media characterize normal people as far left. Actually, it's weird how we are so many and so few at the same time. No, it's very true, because that's what I'm saying. I think America and our society is so, like, our baseline is so conservative that when like that just like normal people seem I don't know, it's just like that when you say you're like a democratic socialist, you seem like so insane and like crazy, and it's this whole thing. And normal people who aren't like, that don't believe or maybe don't know a lot of stuff politically, but like aren't racist, you know, like somehow that seem is like leftist. And it's weird how warped our sense of politics has become. Left from fascist is pretty wide. No, exactly. Left from fascist is pretty wide. No, it is. And that's the problem, is this country has gotten so far to the right, to the point where we're living in a fascist country. Like, we've gone so far to the right that like anybody who's not fascist is like a crazy socialist, leftist, communist, Marxist, you name it. And it's like, it's mind-boggling how insane things have gotten in this country. I mean, it's not really mind-boggling. We saw it happen in real time, but it's just frustrating because I deal with this with my family, and I deal with this with them a lot, and it's why we it's why we get in so many like arguments, and it's because what they're saying, some of the things they say are so insane, and like it's just very right wing, and it's very radicalized, and some of the policies that they want to me are violent, and how they want to treat immigrants is violent, and how they want to treat trans people and the rhetoric around trans people is violent. And it's so far to the right, but because a lot of people have gotten that radicalized and have gotten that far and are just like, don't understand that it's fascism, they think that everyone else is crazy, that all these people are crazy, because we're like, hey, so when you have ICE in masks coming around kidnapping people, these are like Gestapo tactics. When you say that people can just pick them up because they have brown skin or because they're speaking a different language, that's Gestapo tactics. They're like, oh my God, are you a communist? You're crazy. You're why this violent rhetoric against me? And it's like, no, this is just fact. Talk to a historian, talk to anyone. This is just facts. This is just factual. And because our sense of politics in America is so warped, we think that like, we think that like Kamala Harris is like a lefty socialist, which is crazy, which is like, there are so many people, like the people in my life who think like Nancy Pelosi is like a socialist. And I don't understand how you can get to that point. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand, because it's so far from the truth. And it's very frustrating. And when I say that, like, I'm even farther left than, like, Bernie, my family freaks the fuck out. And they're like, oh my God, I'm worried about you. And it's like, actually, and I try to explain to them that in other countries, this is not how it is, that like people like AOC and like Bernie are considered moderate in other countries, you know, and they're not considered like the left flank. And they don't understand that, and they can't come to terms with that, because our politics in America is just so warped, and it's so very frustrating. Wait, well, a Democratic stance is not the opposite of a Republican stance. It's already the compromise of the right, to be completely honest. You think the right is compromising? Is that what you really think? No. Are you kidding me? What? The Democrats, and they've been doing it now. The Democrats consistently, maybe, I don't know what you're saying. Maybe I'm wrong. We wish there was a real opposition party. Okay, maybe that's okay. Yes. I was going to say, I wish there was a real opposition party. I think the Democrats are constantly compromising and are constantly coming to some middle ground that's actually not a middle ground, and are constantly just being ran over by the Republicans on a daily basis. And we don't have a real opposition party, which is what has allowed us to get this, which is what has allowed our politics to get this warped and to get this violent and to get this crazy, is because we don't have a real opposition party. Is because the Democrats aren't actually fighting any of these narratives. They're not actually trying to combat any of these narratives. They would rather come to some compromise or some middle ground with a fascist than actually listen to anyone on the left and do anything on the left, because their donors tell them not to. And so unfortunately, the more this keeps happening, the worse that it's getting. And okay, sorry, I'm gonna respond to this troll one more time, because this one is one that keeps getting me mad. At least we aren't murdering people we don't agree with. First of all, again, like I was saying, we don't know what his motivations are. Second of all, someone who is conservative, a neo-Nazi, just killed Melissa Hortman not even very long ago. Nobody cared about it this much. Nobody cared to look into the ideology. We hear nothing about it on the news. I have been online all weekend, and there are so many people that didn't even know that it happened. There are people that didn't even know that she got assassinated. There are people that didn't know. Nobody cared. The president didn't even call her family, didn't even go to the funeral, didn't give a fuck. He said that they were too whacked out in Minnesota. So like, what are we talking about? No, there was someone that got assassinated. Yes, and then someone in Congress literally memed Nightmare on Wall Street with a guy wearing a mask who went to assassinate her. It's literally like the fact that was not talked about nearly at all, and that nearly nobody cared about that, is very concerning. It's a very concerning thing, and a lot of people didn't even know that it happened. Minimum left, maximum right. Exactly. It's God. It's just like, it's driving me crazy, because people keep saying this, and people keep and it's funny, because the same people who are like, we're declaring war, we need to go after all the leftists, we need to take them all down, are the same people who are like, oh, but we don't do violence. What are you saying? Like, you're talking out of two sides of your mouth now. And there was a Democrat politician, elected member, who was assassinated, and so was her husband, and so was her dog, and nobody cared. Someone in Congress made fun of it. The president didn't care, and barely anybody knows about it. And he had a list of 70 different Democrats that he wanted to go after, including Tim Walz. And there's still people online saying, oh, well, he was appointed by Tim Walz. Tim Walz was literally on his list. Tim Walz was on his list to kill. So, miss me with that. Okay. So Elon Musk, of course, pinned this that we just watched to his thing. He's been saying a lot of crazy ass shit, but we're just going to go down to the, Stephen Miller's been saying a lot of crazy ass shit too. Jesus Christ. Oh God. Okay. It's very concerning. The amount of violence and the amount of rhetoric of going after not just like trans people and people of color, but also like just leftists in general is very concerning. And it's terrifying, honestly. Because Donald Trump is saying that now he's like investigating people on the left. He didn't say what for. He didn't say why. He didn't give anything. He's just like, oh no, we're already investigating them. Who are you investigating? What are you investigating? What are you saying? No specifics, no nothing. All right, so let's see. Where's the Hassan one? God, this man posts like so much. Okay, so he didn't say anything about it, but he reposted this, and it was by Tectone of all people, that said, Twitch is corrupt and needs immediate action. Twitch, you must ban Hassan. Now, it's not just Tectone, it's also Ethan. And we're going to talk about Ethan in just a second. But Ethan has also been doing this. And Ethan has been going after Hassan and trying to get him banned off Twitter for like the longest time. And Ethan has been buddying up with all these different people to like go against him. And that's the other thing. Like, he wants to be all holier than thou and be like, oh my gosh, this is Hassan. He did it and I'm scared now. When he literally is trying to get the same thing done to Hassan. Him to keep pushing, going after Hassan. And I don't even like talking about it because I don't like talking about it because it honestly actually scares me. And listen, you want to see me crash out? I would crash out. But let's listen. They clipped him. It's like a 1-minute video. He went through it today. I'm
sick and tired of it. Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be fucking showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them. You need to be
I'm sorry. The editing of this is so stupid. They're trying to make it seem like so like, oh, this is so scary. This is so terrifying. Oh my God. Hassan, Twitch's biggest star. Please, come on. Okay, we're gonna finish watching this part of it and then I'll explain and everything because I was watching earlier.
Yanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage.
I'm sorry. And it's just funny watching this because all these same people have literally been like, this is war. This is civil war. We're going to go after everyone. We're going to dox everyone. Like, literally, that is what's been happening. Right? And they're like, oh my God, we need to ban Hassan. We need to go after Hassan. He's so violent. I'm like, can we look at some of your guys' posts? Can we look at some of what you guys are saying? Like, is there? But they clipped that out of context. Of course they did. He was talking about a debate, and I think it was the Herschel Walker debate. And they refused. And I remember during that time when Herschel Walker was, wow, let's remember the good times. Let's remember the good times when it was just Herschel Walker running. But I remember that. I remember that time, and I remember being frustrated as well because they were going they were so weak against Herschel Walker, and I remember being very frustrated in the moment. Like, I remember being like, if Herschel Walker wins, I'm literally going to like lose my shit because how do you not win against this man? Of course, Raphael Warnock won, thank goodness. But it was like how do you not win against this man? How is this happening right now? And they were being very mild and very meek, and they didn't really want to go after him, even though there was a slew of things they could have gone after him for. They didn't want to go after him. And I remember this moment. And so that's what he was saying. He was saying that Democrats need to not be so meek. They need to not be so mild, not in a violent way. He says crazy shit sometimes, but not in like a violent way, but in they need to go after him. Even if that means like personally, they need to go after him because he had a lot of personal scandals. He had a lot of shit going on that they didn't really want to, and they didn't really do anything with it. And so he was saying they need to do that. Like, they need to be better at going after people. The right just endlessly goes after people, continuously goes after people, just berates people all the time. And the Democrats don't seem to do that as much. And so that's what he was saying. That's what he was trying to say. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Everyone's talking. And I'm trying to see what's going on. When Dems fake a weak GOP candidate, they hold back. Even Walz held back in the JD Vance debate. Slice and dice. No, exactly. Oh my God, that made me so mad too. I was so pissed off because I was so excited for that debate. I was like, Tim Walz, yes, he's gonna do great. And then he was so nice to JD Vance, and I felt like pulling my hair out. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Why did you do that? And now Kamala Harris wants to come out and be like, oh, Biden running again and people following Biden was reckless. Were you not one of those people? Were you not in that category of people? Are we rewriting history here? What is happening? That made me so mad. I'm not gonna lie, it happened recently, so it kind of got buried in all the news, but apparently in Kamala Harris's book, she said that it was reckless for people to go with Biden, and I was so mad. I'm like, oh, now you say it. Now like, I gotta say, I was so pissed off. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. If you would have said that, like, I don't know, a few years ago, maybe we would have a different situation now. But oh no, it's the leftists that got blamed in this situation too, because we were like, hey, maybe we should be doing something different. And they're like, oh, do you love Trump? You just want Trump. Why are you talking bad about Biden? You just want Trump. And we're like, no, we actually don't want Trump. That's why we're saying maybe it shouldn't be Biden. And then, oh no, you want Trump. You love Trump. And then now Kamala Harris is like, oh yeah, that was reckless. Thanks, man. Thanks. Thank you, I guess. Jesus Christ. Like, what? Oh my God. Insane. So crazy. So what you're saying is you support Trump. No, exactly. Oh God. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's been so many times in recent history where you just feel so gaslit by like everyone. You just feel like, as a leftist, I feel like that's just like a normal feeling, is that you just feel gaslit by everyone at all times. And then like a few months later, they're like, yeah, so it was reckless of us to do that. And you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? We were trying to tell you. Okay, let's finish this. Oh, it's 2 minutes? Jesus Christ.
Slice him up. Slice him and fucking dice him. What the fuck is this?
What? They're trying to correlate it to this, which is insane.
Right on stage.
This is no, and he was saying, "Oh my God, what is this editing? Oh my, see, I haven't watched this. Oh my God." He was saying live on stage because he was talking about a debate. Oh my, this is diabolical. This is bad. Oh my God, what? What is happening? No, literally, I was watching Hassan when this all went down. Okay, I was literally physically in real time watching Hassan when this all went down. And he was horrified. So to try to act like it was anything different is so insane. And they're like, oh my God, they're like, how dare anyone not be upset? But also, we want it to happen to another person. I swear to God, this is so insane. Oh my God.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Okay, I don't know what he was talking about there. But Hassan uses Amazon-owned Twitch TV to call for violence against elected officials. Oh, they're going to do the Rick Scott one, aren't they? That's going to be the next one.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Kill Rick Scott.
Oh my God, this editing is fucking insane. Also, so I was watching during this too, but he was saying that because they were taking money, they were defunding Medicaid, and but then the right wing was saying no, they actually care about Medicaid, and he was saying, well, if you really cared about Medicaid, then you would do that to Rick Scott because he did a lot of fraud, blah blah blah, right? It was a metaphor. It was not like, oh, actually go do this, and he did get suspended for that. Like, he did get in trouble for that. So it's wild because they're like, Twitch is doing nothing. And he's been suspended. He's been that has happened to him before. Like, it's so crazy. And this one, oh God, this one, okay. This one, I remember watching too because Ethan posted about it. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Okay.
You would kill Rick Scott. Kill Rick Scott.
I'm gonna kill you with my AR-15. Like, that's the type of messages they were leaving in this dude's office, and he's resigning. Like, he's literally, this is his last term. You actually wrote about this, and
okay, they cut it off, but he was not like, I don't think he was saying like, oh, like this is great. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe he was, but he was saying that like this is what conservatives were doing to these representatives. Like these conservatives have been calling in. I remember when that was happening because I was listening, and there was like this one conservative that literally called in to I forgot who it was, but was calling in to all these different Republican officials, and they were saying shit like that. Yeah, I remember that.
Great video where you talked about, someone has to do it.
Okay, so this is we're gonna talk about this with Ethan too, but Taylor Lorenz made a really good video called someone has to do it, and it wasn't meaning that someone had to do it. It was a provocative title. It was a clickbait title, so people would click on it and watch the video. I watched the whole entire video. It was a very good video. It was about political violence, and it was about this term, someone has to do it, and it was about the rise in people thinking like that towards Trump, towards politicians, and she was talking about the ideology behind it. She was going deep into why this is coming about, and it was not her whole video was not condoning it. It was literally talking about why it's happening and why it's dangerous. And so that just shows you that none of these people actually watch any of this shit. None of these people actually watched Taylor Lorenz video, and they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And also to act like conservatives have not talked about killing political officials is crazy, because they talk about it all the time. Marjorie Taylor Greene has like called for Nancy Pelosi to be like hanged. Okay, so let's not just do this whole like moral grandstanding thing. Okay.
See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean. Which is, I think that shows that there is a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and untapped potential, untapped revolutionary potential, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he doesn't mean like to hurt people in a violence way. He means like untapped potential for people to get involved, and untapped potential for people to actually care. Because most people in this country don't care. Most people in this country probably don't even realize we're living in a fascist country right now. Like most people in this country, that's why all the things were so funny when they were like, they saw these people posting about Charlie Kirk who are like apolitical or who don't follow politics, because it is fun. That is kind of funny who posted stuff like that. But that's because I think most people in this country don't follow this shit and don't follow it like people online do. And so they don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happening. They're starting to feel some of the effects, but like most of them are not paying attention and are purposely not paying attention, because it has gotten so insane and crazy, and you feel crazy every time, it's just like, I really care about this stuff, and I am very online. And so that's why I tune in and want to talk about it. But like most people purposely do not care and do not want to care and do not want to pay attention, because it is so scary and just insane. And so that whole thing was, there are people starting to pay attention now because the ramifications, the effects of everything they're starting to feel it. And so now people are starting to pay attention because they're like, oh shit, like, wait, what's going on? You know, everything's more expensive. And now there's like National Guard on my street. Like, what is happening right now? And so when you start to see those things happening in real time, people are now starting to pay attention and get really upset because they're like, wait, how did this happen? Like, how did we get here? And so that's what he was saying. He did not mean like violently go after them. Okay, the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy, has stated that Hassan Piker is his favorite creator. I don't even know if that's true. That's something that Ethan has been saying for a long time too.
Not a gamer himself, Clancy mostly watches musicians or talk shows on Twitch. He particularly enjoys leftist political commentator Hassan Piker, who has 2.5 million followers on the platform. I like the frankness and the bluntness, Clancy said. He's comfortable saying what he believes.
So he didn't say he's his favorite. Anyway, are you comfortable with Hassan Piker saying what he believes? Yeah, I am. And what was this from? This was like a gun, a 3D printed gun. I remember when he posted this. Yeah, I don't know about this post. This post was a little like, okay. But I don't remember why he posted this, but I remember when he did.
Someone has to do it.
Oh my God, this is an insane edit. This is actually an insane edit. This is actually like really scary for him. And I know he like is like telling everyone to stop being so parasocial, but it's hard because it's actually really scary. And I feel really scared for him because this is like a hatchet job, man. They're like purposely trying to get people angry to go after him. Like this is crazy the way that they're editing this. He's literally talking about Taylor Lorenz's video that was about the dangers of political violence. Like, this is crazy.
When I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean.
Oh my God. And so now they're saying, demand the dismissal of Twitch CEO and the executive trust and safety team. Hassan Piker must be permanently banned. And then Elon Musk, of course, reposted it, which is, again, so terrifying because Elon Musk has all these people, like he has all these people listening to him all the time, following him, and he just tweets all this insane shit. The funny part is there's so many other examples of this behavior being allowed by Twitch, but calling someone fat will get you a 2-week ban. Okay. Oh, on top of that, Hassan's channel being 24/7 terrorist propaganda. Oh, because he's anti-Israel. Give me a break. Okay. All right, what's everyone saying? Okay. My family Thanksgiving table can't even argue with me anymore. I've literally been right too many times. Oh, that's so, like, that, good for you, honestly. I think what I get so frustrated with in my family, like, I'll tell this story. So one of the reason that I got kicked out of family dinner most recently, or got kicked out of my family, I'm not invited back to my family's Christmas. I got kicked out anyway. It's because I got in a argument with my uncle, and we were talking about unions, and I said, actually, like, a lot of union busting tactics are illegal. And he kept saying, no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. And he kept talking to me like I was stupid and saying, like, no, they're not. Like, no, they're not. You know, and that's how he talks to people. That's how he talks to women in particular. And I got so frustrated. And I just got so frustrated because I knew I was correct and I knew I was right, but he was talking down to me and trying to make me believe that I was wrong. And he's done that a number of times. And people in my family, like, qualified immunity. There was one argument we had where I said, well, cops have qualified immunity. And he said, no, they don't. No, they don't. You're crazy. No, they don't. And I was like, yes, they do. And he was talking to me like he was literally like talking to me like I was insane and like talking to me like I was stupid and talking down to me saying, no, they're not. Like, yeah, it's like, not everything you believe is real, or no, they're not, you know, and stuff like that. And then my other uncle came back to me after looking it up and was like, you were right. They do have qualified immunity. And I was like, yeah, I know I'm right. I know. I was like, I was telling you all I was right because it's everybody against, like, literally my whole family every single time. It's been my whole family against me. And so it's like, because it's literally 6 or 7 people against me, I'm the one who's the crazy one. I'm the one who's divisive. I'm the one who just needs to calm down, even though you all are like saying the most insane shit. And then I'm the one who gets it's my fault all of a sudden. And this has happened so many times. What was the other one? Oh, we got in this huge argument on Israel-Palestine. And I said, well, how come Benjamin Netanyahu has literally given money to Hamas? He's like, that's not true. That's not true. You're wrong. That's not true. There were like a couple months later, there was like an article coming out that said it was, and I have so many instances of me being correct, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They don't care because they listen to Fox News, and they would have it on while I was there. They would have it on like all day while I was there. And I used to get so frustrated because I used to be like, they want me to tone down the rhetoric. They want me to stop getting upset. They want me to stop, saying all these things. But they know how I feel, and they're playing Fox News all day, every day while I'm here. And so they want me to respect them, but they don't respect me. And like, they don't actually care about me feeling comfortable. They don't actually care about me, feeling at home or comfortable with them. Like, their whole point is to, at least my uncle, his whole point was to rile me up. His whole point was to get me upset because he then felt some sort of power over me when I got upset, because then he could say, oh, well, you're just being emotional. There's something wrong with you, which I've gotten told my whole life. ADHD. But yeah, I don't know. That was a whole long thing because of your comments. So a little personal lore there. Okay. You let talking heads do your thinking for you when when you're a conservative. Yeah, no, literally. And there's so many things that like I'll say, and I'll say it and I'll be like, well, Donald Trump literally said this in an interview verbatim. And then they'll be like, well, that's what you think. That's what you're being told. And I'm like, no, and it's like, and it's just so, and I get mad. I do get mad and I do get emotional because it's very frustrating when you're telling someone a fact and it's a fact and you've seen it with your eyes and you have someone else telling you, well, that's just your opinion. That's just what you've heard. And I'm like, no. I watched Donald Trump say it with his own mouth. I watched this, like I literally, and that's the thing is they don't watch his press conferences. They don't watch all of his press conferences. They don't watch all of his press briefings. I do. I do. So like I hear him say the crazy shit he says. And then when you relay it to them, they're like, oh, well, I don't think he really said that. I watched him say it. He said it. I watched him say it. So it's like, oh God, but my mother is saying contradictory facts to mine, so it doesn't work for me. No, exactly. That's what it is, and see, my mom, she doesn't even believe in facts anymore. Like I'll be like, I'll say, well, it comes from this study, or I saw it on this or whatever. And she's just like, well, you don't know if those are facts. Facts are, that doesn't mean that's real, or this is coming from, and it's like, they don't believe their own eyes and ears now. They don't believe studies. They don't believe higher institutions. They don't believe any scientists. They don't believe any of that anymore. Facts have become opinion now. And so they actually don't believe facts and studies and shit like that. So trying to have a conversation with them is just, it doesn't go anywhere. And it just goes to fighting because they don't believe that facts even exist, Yeah, I have tried to like test them. Like that's what, when I first, God, I'm doing so much lore now. When I first got into I took a rabbit hole online, and it was like the vegan rabbit hole, and then it was like the atheist rabbit hole, and then it got into like leftists and, to where I am now. Well, actually I went from like TYT to Hassan, and stuff like that. But anyway, when I was in like the atheist realm online, that's what what they tell you to do, is like ask questions and then try to like, it's a very debate bro tactic, but it's like ask these questions and then get people in kind of like a corner, you know, when you keep asking these questions and what they believe, because a lot of what conservatives believe are very contradictory. And so they'll say they believe in free speech and then they'll do a doxing campaign, you know? And so they don't actually believe these things. But like, I've done that with people in my family, and they'll just be like, well, yeah, I'm a hypocrite. Oh, well. And so if you go far enough, they'll just like admit it, that they're like, no, I want these rights for me, but like not for you. And so if you push, I've pushed, you know, I've pushed one of them hard enough that they'll just say, okay, well then I'm a hypocrite then like, and I'm like, okay, well, okay, you know, then you don't actually believe what you're saying, but it doesn't matter, because they want to control other people's lives, but they don't want their lives controlled. And that's kind of essentially what it is. Yeah. Facts are Marxist lies, honestly. Their beliefs constantly fail to predict reality. They will have trouble making their lies make sense to them. Yeah. Well, no, and I've actually witnessed that, where like, they do a lot of gymnastics in their mind. And like, listen, if I'm wrong on something, or if I get something wrong, or if like I don't know, I'll just be like, I don't know about that. Or like, I have talked to my mom before and I'll be like, well, listen, I was wrong about that, I misquoted that, this is what I meant, you know. And so like, I'll admit if I'm wrong, and I'll admit if I don't know something. But sometimes with conservatives, they'll do these like mental gymnastics so that way what they originally thought is just always the truth, because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. And I've noticed a lot of that when talking to people. So, or they'll just pivot. That happens when I talk to my mom a lot too. They'll just like, I'll be talking about something and they'll be like, well, what about this? And I'll be like, okay, well, I'm trying to answer your question about this other thing. And then now I have to like, and it's like me always having to come to the defense of like Kamala or Biden. And I'm like, I don't like them. I don't want to defend them. I'm just, you know, and it's just like this weird, like, it's just very weird. It's a very weird conversation. And so I actually have to call my mom at some point, and I've been kind of procrastinating on that because I don't want to talk about current events, and I know she'll want to, because my mom actually really liked Charlie Kirk. And so we actually got into a fight about Charlie Kirk like 2 weeks ago. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. And so I'm like, oh God, I don't want to talk about this. Like, I really don't. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how that goes. I'm just gonna be like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. That's what I'm gonna have to do. So yeah. No, because when I first started this channel, I was doing more like drama, celebrity drama, stuff like that. But I did my whole point was to put in leftist politics into that kind of drama. And so there were times where I talked about Charlie Kirk, and I've been talking about Charlie Kirk since the beginning of my channel. And there was someone that commented something about like, go cry to your mom then. And I was like, yeah, well, my mom likes Charlie Kirk, so like I can't go cry to her, you know, because she'll just probably agree with him. And so yeah, it's kind of weird, kind of wild, but yeah. All right, so then apologize and dissociate from MSNBC. Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing. Like, they know that I don't like mainstream media, and they know that I don't like mainstream Democrats, because there's stuff that I'll be like, well, I hate this person, and they'll be like, yeah, me too. But then the reason they hate that person is because they think they're too insane, and I'm like, I don't like it's this weird, it's very strange, because they think people like Kamala Harris and Biden are like these Marxist socialists, and they think that they're these big bads, and they're just so brutal, and they're so violent and everything like that. And I'm like, I don't know where you're getting this from, because to me, they're like some of the most milquetoast people in the world, you know? And so like, it's like weird, because I'm talking to them and I'm like, so you come from a hardcore right? Oh yes. And they've gotten more right as time has gone on. Yes. No, yes. Yes. I do come from a hardcore right family. Yes, and I have had many disagreements with them over the years, and it's been a constant battle throughout my whole entire life. And of course, when I went to college, and you know, I went to business school, so actually for a while there, I became like fiscally conservative or whatever because I was an entrepreneurship major. But after getting out of college, I realized that a lot of that was not real. I realized a lot of it was just, you know, a lot of the whole like fiscally conservative stuff is just like pro-capitalist shit, you know, a lot of like the stuff in like a business degree. And so after getting out of college and realizing all of that, I became much more leftist. And so now my family thinks it's college that make me become leftist. And it's funny because I went to a Christian college, and so and I had to take like Bible classes, and I'm an atheist, and so it's actually kind of hilarious. And I went to business school, so it's actually kind of hilarious how they think I got radicalized at school because like I didn't. There was like maybe there were two different there are things from going to college that I have since looked back and been like, oh, okay, like maybe that was something I learned, but like I really didn't start becoming like, I really like it was after college when I really started being like, oh yeah, like shit really does suck because of capital. Like it wasn't until after college that I became anti-capitalist is what I'm trying to say. So it is really funny, but no, they have gotten like more far right. But I have always argued with them on things, but it's just gotten a lot more heated recently, you know, so yeah. Dude, I have a crush Bible study. Have you lost relationships? So it's actually in a very weird time right now. So like not with my mom and my dad. I'm, you know, I still talk to my mom and my dad, but the rest of my family, not really. It's, you know, but you know, they live in Florida, and like we never really talked all that much. It was really just like holidays and stuff. But I had a lot of my relationship with my family like I don't really talk to a lot of them. I definitely like the one person I don't talk to like at all is my uncle that I had that fight with and who kicked me out. Like we've like kind of severed ties. But like everybody else, I've like texted them or whatever, but it's not like a strong relationship. And I have a lot of anxiety around that, and it's hard. And like, I've actually thought about doing like a show or a live or a video about that, of just like having conservative family members and like how that's felt and like how alienating it's kind of been. But, you know, throughout my life, I will say that, you know, when I was younger and when I would have to go visit them, I would always have panic attacks before going to visit them because I felt the need to like look perfect, and I felt the need because I've never been like, you know, I there was a point in time where I was like skinny and stuff, but it was actually very unhealthy, and now I don't know. And but anyway, I always felt the need to like look perfect, be perfect, because I always felt like they were judging me, for my appearance and how I looked. And I always felt like, cause you know, they would say certain things to me, and, you know, they'd always comment on like how I'm dressed or, you know, what I'm eating. And, it's just a lot. And so I used to always get anxiety and panic attacks before seeing them. And so I think our relationship has always been a little confusing for me, and I always tried to get their approval, and I think in the last few years I have actually been very defiant and actually not wanting their approval and actually trying to be opposite of what they want me to be, and I think that has caused a lot of rifts, even though I've always, like, I have Facebook posts of me like being pro-abortion and fighting people on abortion and stuff like that back when I was like 16. So like I've always been to the left of them, and I've always argued with them about this stuff, but it wasn't until recently that that it's gotten like very kind of hostile. And I think it's because for me, some of the things that they say are just so horrible to me that I've started seeing them in like a different light. And when I was younger, I guess I didn't when I was younger, I just think it was hard for me. They were like my family, and that was always the thing. Well, we're family, so that's it. You know, you have to deal. You have to be with us. Like, we're family, that's it. And I think as I've gotten older, I've realized that, like, I don't, like, the feelings that I have when I'm around them, you know, aren't comfy. And every time, you know, I'd always cry. Like, I would always leave Christmas crying because we'd always get into an argument, and it would always be everyone against me. And then when I would cry, everyone would call me too emotional. And this has happened like every year. And so I think this past year it just came to a head. And I think, yeah. And so it has been very isolating, honestly. And it's been a very weird, but I am so close with my parents, so that's good, I guess. No, it's good. It's good. But are they young Earth creationists? Did dinosaurs exist for your family? No, that's the other thing. Is like, I wasn't raised religious. Like, my parents have never been religious. My dad actually doesn't even really like religion because he had to go to Catholic school. And so I was never raised religious. The only reason I know is because they were my friends when I was younger were religious, and I dated someone who was really religious. And so what I know from church and how I became an atheist is from having those experiences. But it's actually really funny because, like, my parents have never been super religious. And so it's weird because now, not my dad, but like my mom is starting to become like more religious. And I'm just like, what the hell is happening? I'm like, why? What are you saying? I'm like, I've never heard you say things like this in my life. Like, what is happening? Because like when I said I was atheist, it was like, oh my God. And then I guess my aunt and my mom were talking about buying me a cross necklace for Christmas. And I was like, well, I'm glad you didn't buy that because I wouldn't have worn it. And they were like so offended. And I was like, why is that offensive? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna wear that. What are you saying? And they were like really offended that I didn't want to wear it. So yeah, you were skinny, like unhealthy skinny. Kind of, not the way to reach the skinniness. Well, I was like in high school, and I was eating those, and I was drinking those like slim quick things for lunch, and like it was just like it was a very unhealthy situation. We'll just say that. Queen of Daydreams, you're crying. I know I'm giving you all so much lore. I'm actually probably sharing way too much. But now you know more about me. Yeah, they use that loyalty against you. No, but it like sometimes, yeah. And so like I do feel like it was a very toxic situation for everyone involved. And like I look back on it a lot, and I look back on like how I acted in like relationships, you know, not my family, but just like friendships and relationships when I was growing up, and I can see how I transferred some of that toxicness into that, you know. And so I don't know, it's just a lot of things growing up, and like just realizing that, like, you know, because my family wasn't like overtly political, but they did. It's hard to explain. They weren't like, it wasn't like the politics that they taught me, but it was like the ideals, if that makes sense. And so the like very capitalist, very, you know, do what you got to do to survive, think about yourself, like worry about yourself, and that's it. And like, you know, and just like stuff like that. And so, a lot of things that like are very conservative views, but it wasn't like, it wasn't taught to me in the context of politics. It was just taught to me like in like a value, you know, in like values way. And so I think that's kind of how, that's where it was. And the reason I became a leftist, like I said, I like growing up, I'd always been like to the left, and I'd always been like to the left of them. Like I have posts on Facebook because I remember I got in a fight with my parents about Trayvon Martin when that was all happening. And I was on Facebook, and I was like, anyone who thinks this is okay is racist and blah, blah, blah. And like, I have like memories coming up, and I was like, I forgot how old I was, but I was like a teenager when that happened. And the BLM protest happened in Missouri, and I was interning at PBS at that time, and I went down there and did like a documentary about it. And I went to one of we protested outside of like the police station or whatever. And so there are different things that like in my life that have gotten me to this point. And I've always kind of had different views than my family. And I also went to a school, in St. Louis, and so there was a lot of diversity in that school. And so I think me interacting with all of the people that the right tends to demonize, and me having friends and being in theater and knowing people that were like gay or non-binary, even though that wasn't really the term in the time frame. But like, I had a friend who was an immigrant from Germany that I talked about that did heroin. That was a story in another life. Anyway, but like I think being around the diversity in high school and knowing a lot of different people and seeing and like me knowing people, I feel like knowing people that are not just like white people in the suburbs is why I turned out differently. And so, because all the people that they're trying to demonize, I've interacted with, and I know, and I don't believe them, if that makes sense. And so I do think like that is a lot of the reason why I turned out differently, because I went to a high school with a lot of diversity, and I didn't believe the conservative like propaganda and stuff like that. Yeah, if that makes sense. Anyway, okay. We can know stuff. The original 10 viewers who were here before it was cool and popular. Thank you. My mom and aunt are from the Bay Area, Cali, but after years of rural Georgia, their tone is noticeably different. Yeah. Isolation can cause harm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think, and if I didn't go to that high school and I went to and I kept going to high school in the suburbs or whatever, I don't think I would have turned out differently. I don't, but I could have. I don't think I would have though, personally, just because like I've always kind of had like I've always kind of been like, again, like my upbringing was more conservative and like the ideals and the family values ideals and the like capitalist ideals. It was never like politics per se. And so I think empathetic, thank you. So I think I've always been somewhat empathetic, or I've always cared about certain things. But I just didn't know how to articulate it, or I didn't know about the history. And I've always been kind of defiant against authority as well. I've never I've actually been very defiant against authority my whole life. Yeah. And I think college and like business school kind of tampered that down a bit, actually, which is kind of funny when people want to say they get radicalized by school. But actually, I think going to business school and getting like and going and doing like entrepreneurship and stuff kind of toned that down in me a bit, because I felt like, oh, well, I got to listen, because I really believed like the Jeff Bezos things. I really like I've always been, I was also always like socially on the left, but when it came to like economics and stuff like that, I never really understood. And that's where the indoctrination came from my family, was like the financial part of it, the capitalist part of it. And I think when I went to college, it definitely tamped down me wanting to go against authority, and me wanting to like, not believe people who have prominence like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or whatever. But I think what radicalized me was Kat gave you one of those empathy parasites. Yeah, but I think also like I think I started to just get more defiant, and then I learned more about. I think what happened is I learned more about the actual history in this country. And on my membership, I have a whole video of how I became a leftist and like what I believed, because I definitely started out as one of those like white libs who only cared like about abortion. Like, I definitely started out as that, and I will admit that, and I have come very, very far. But I have a whole thing on my membership. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about, because that whole thing was just about me and how I got here. In my lore. So there you go. You guys learn more and more about me every week. Oh my God. Okay. So let's talk about, they got almost all of the left. Yeah. Well, and I think like, yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. Okay. So someone who is not a leftist, who has actually gone backwards, is Ethan Klein. So let's talk about Ethan Klein. So Ethan Klein posted on his stories not too long ago, after Charlie Kirk died. Okay, let's see. This is what he posted. Okay, so he said, I'm absolutely horrified by what happened to Charlie Kirk. The video is devastating. Anyone celebrating this should be deeply and forever shamed. I am scared for myself and my family. There has been a constant stream of death threats targeting me and others coming directly from Twitch TV. This is the inevitable result of Twitch continued endorsement of radical violent voices. I am not saying anyone on Twitch influenced this directly, even though he just said that. Sorry, we went over this in my last live, but he did say that. Anyway, it's like exactly what he was insinuating. I'm not saying anyone on Twitch influences directly. We don't know anything yet, but this is the type of political violence that very specific people have been encouraging. Mike from PA has been broadcasting constant threats of violence for years with zero accountability from Twitch. Twitch ensures this will continue to happen. I'm so sorry to Charlie's family and wife and 1-year-old son. So when this first came out, everyone was like, oh my God, Ethan is truly psychotic. like when he first posted this, I think the consensus around this post was like, wow, Ethan has really lost his mind because he's making this about himself. He has lost his goddamn mind. And that's what I was saying, because I think he has, honestly. And so that's how a lot of people were reacting. Also, he's lost his goddamn mind because he literally named Mike from PA after someone just got assassinated, and he's like, I'm scared for my life. Here's someone that you guys should like go after because I'm scared for my life. And I'm like, bro, you don't understand. You're saying that like shame on everyone. Oh my God, this violent rhetoric, but also this guy is making me feel unsafe. Like what? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how Ethan doesn't get what he's doing. And I think he might. I don't know if he's just like delusional or if he's just so angry that nobody is on his side that he just continues to go after everyone, and he just keeps adding people to his list, and he just doesn't see what he's doing. But anyway, this is what said. So this is what someone said. Someone said, Ethan Klein, after hearing the news of Charlie Kirk getting shot, decides to make this about himself once again, because this man can truly make anything about himself, which is like insane. The amount of things that he has made about himself is crazy. And this one honestly tops the cake. And when I saw this, I just looked in disbelief. I was like, wow, Ethan is just like, Ethan is insane, man. He's shameless. And so he's also, this is the same guy who said someone should do that to the NRA. Now he wants to act like the arbiter of morality. Get the fuck out of here. Honestly. And then Adam McIntyre said, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. And then Taylor Lorenz reposted it. And so that's another thing. Ethan has been going after Adam McIntyre and Alexa, whatever. She was on Zoe 101. I used to love Zoe 101. That's another one of my lore. Oh God, I love Zoe 101. I was so excited for that. And do you know what? Let me tell you. So this is like my conservative, like this is where the conservative, like kind of came into me. When she got pregnant when she was 16, I was pissed off at her because I was mad that she did that. I was mad that she put her career in jeopardy and didn't care about the show enough. And I was like 12. I was like 12, okay? And I look back and I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with me? I'm like, God damn, there was something so deeply wrong with me. I still don't like Jamie Spears for different reasons. because she's not, I don't think she's a good person personally, in my personal opinion. Not because she got pregnant anymore. I shouldn't have been, that was so stupid of me to be so mad at that. But and inherently like a conservative view of things. But now I don't like her because of how she's treated Britney Spears, and I've always loved Britney Spears. Okay, so Anyway, so all this happened, but no, I was saying he's going after Adam McIntyre and Alexa or whatever, and this other girl. I don't know. I'm like, should I get into this drama? And I'm like, I don't really know if I care, to be honest. But he's been going after them now too. No fucking shit. I made it about my. Okay, wait. Okay, no fucking shit. I made it about myself. I'm not waiting for someone to try to kill me. And F you, Taylor. Someone should do it, Lorenz. See, this is what I'm saying. He did this not too long ago, and I remember when he posted this not too long ago, because I think I talked about it then, because I was pissed that he did that, because I was like, you didn't read that, you didn't watch the effing video, and it's a really good video, and if you would just watch the video, you would realize that what you're saying is just wrong. You're just wrong. Like, the whole video is about how dangerous this rhetoric is and how we got here. That's the whole video, and he keeps mischaracterizing it, and he's acting like what he is doing is now putting a bullseye on them. He's acting like he's morally grandstanding, and I'm like, bro, you have been going after the same people for months, harassing this, not even months, years. He's been going after Hassan for years. He's been going after Taylor Lorenz for months, but you've been going after these same people for months and years, and he's still going after Anissa. He's still going after iDubbbz. He has been going after all these people relentlessly for a long time now. And I'm like, I don't understand how you don't see how that is doing what you are accusing everyone else of doing. Like, you're the one doing it. Anyway. Should do it, Lorenz. Somebody did it just like you asked. That is not what the video is about, and that's insane. And then that's what I'm saying. He's also now putting a bullseye on Taylor Lorenz and people to blame her for Charlie Kirk, which is insane, because the whole video was about how the rhetoric is dangerous and how we got here. But Ethan Klein doesn't care. Ethan Klein doesn't care because he doesn't want to watch it, and it's because he just thinks she's some like crock, but she's not. And the video is a very good video. I would suggest you watch it if you haven't, because it's really good. And as you can see, this little screenshot, he didn't watch it, obviously. He obviously didn't watch it. It's a very good video. And he said, happy now. Are you happy now? God, he's so insane. He's like so deranged. Okay, we'll wait to that one last. Happy now. And then Taylor Lorenz says, wake up, babe. Ethan Klein is misrepresenting a deeply reported video I made on the root causes of political violence to blame me for Charlie Kirk's death, which is insane and shameless. And that's why it's like when all these conservatives, and now I'm putting Ethan in that bucket, with all these conservatives and people like Ethan, they are literally just using this to blame everybody else. They don't actually care about who did it. They don't actually care about the truth. They don't actually give a shit. They're just sitting here and they're like, look over here. It's this person that I have a personal beef with. It's their fault, and it's just so frustrating. So anyway, he's misrepresenting that, and then let's see. So this is the other thing he put. He said, people telling me I'm making it about myself are doing the exact same thing as people saying not now after a school shooting. His ego is so big. He has such a big ego. Okay. Wild. It's not the same thing at all. And people like Hassan and people like me, when I was reacting to this, I was like, you know what? Like, the thing that I'm feeling most of all is just scared for journalists. I'm scared for content creators. I'm scared for political commentators. I'm scared for people, in political positions of power, because now people are going to want retribution. They're going to want to, whatever. And so I think a lot of people were saying, no, it is terrifying because this puts a lot of people in danger. But for Ethan to just sit here and be like, this is like saying it's not political after a school shooting, like, no, it is not the same thing. Many people have been talking about the threat it is to commentators and people speaking up, but you're making this about your personal beefs. You are making this about your personal fucking fights that nobody knows about. You have to be incredibly online to even know about. And like, no, like it's just insane. And then some other guy, and I think it's the isn't it that one guy that keeps writing like articles about Hassan and everything, and he wrote an article about how Hassan's community is harassing me after this, and they wanna hurt me. I don't believe him, because almost every article that he's made has been false and wrong, and he's lied, and God, it's insane. And then, because Hassan has been doing all these interviews about like radical empathy and how he felt and everything like that, Ethan has been getting so mad, and he's been like, this is a misrepresentation of Hassan. He is very violent. Da 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 da. I can't believe these mainstream news outlets are letting him do this. Da, 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 da. Bro, you keep crying about mainstream news outlets like having him on, and you don't understand that maybe you're the one who's crazy. Maybe you're the one who's wrong. Maybe you're the one who's out here crashing out because you seem to be going after everyone. Like, you're the one going after everyone. Anyway, sorry, I just had to say, okay, no effing shit. I'm making it about myself. I'm rightfully worried about me and my family's safety. I'm not going to wait for somebody to try to kill me to speak up. Disgusting snark brain freaks like Taylor Lorenz retweet this bullshit. Well, Taylor, you call all the other leftist Taylor, you and all the other leftist freaks that regularly call for political violence are right to be nervous about the developing news, because if it turns out this person was influenced by any of you, the jig is up. You will be fully exposed for what you are. Insane. And that's oh my God. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, her reposting this about being like, I can't believe he fucking made this about himself. How insane is this man? I think is what everyone was thinking. I think that's a normal feeling to have. And so wild that he's like, okay, now the jig is up. You guys are violent. Ethan Klein has said some of the most horrendous shit. He had this, like, one of his he has said some of the most insane shit, like the pedo troll thing. I didn't talk about that much because some of the shit that he said was just downright disgusting, and was talking about like incest and all it. Like, it's fucking disgusting what he was saying. He's like, oh, it's just a joke. I was trying to be edgy. Like, okay, so then when other people are like edgy or say something that you deem as political violence or too extreme because you're a capitalist, you go after them and you harass them every single day, and you don't see how you're bringing people to them. You don't think that people in your audience have been threatening them, have been harassing them. Crazy. And that's what I'm saying. So he hates people like Taylor Lorenz and Hassan now. So now I think he's just like, oh, it's not popular for him to be a leftist anymore. So now he's just gonna go and be with everyone on the right, or the libs, centrist libs, or whatever, like Destiny. And he's just gonna sit here and he's gonna associate with them, because it's no longer now society, it's no longer helpful for him to be a leftist. So he's just gonna be like, well, I didn't actually really care about any of that stuff. Never mind. Okay. No. Okay. For who you are. And even if he wasn't, okay, listen, and this is the part that's so crazy to me. And even if he wasn't a leftist, it's only a matter of time if you continue the violent rhetoric. Okay. Stop. Adjust course now before it's too late for the next victim. Do you see how he's saying this stuff? Like, we don't know why he did it or who he did it. In this whole live, I've been saying I maybe jumped the gun. We don't know who he did it, and we don't know why. And I shouldn't have said he was a Groyper, or I shouldn't have been so convinced of it so fast. But yet, all of these other people who want to blame it on leftists, who want to blame it on specific people, well, they know for sure. They know for sure that, oh, it's that ideology, and oh, it's their fault, and you're going to be sorry. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And he's making it seem like they're at fault for this, which is really dangerous for them, but he doesn't care. And I think if something did happen to them, he wouldn't care. And you know what he would be doing? He would be doing what Nick Fuentes is doing right now. He would be sitting here like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't want this to happen. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then trying to act like he wasn't just fucking going after everyone for the past few months. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he would be doing because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Okay, stop for yourself, very least out of the self-preservation. You do not want to be known as the person who pushed someone over the edge. Wild things to say, but that's Ethan crashing out because he's literally just the most insane person ever. Just like ever online. Just crazy. Ethan is that kid that ate crayons. Now you all are. Ethan react to a video he never saw. Honestly. Oh my God. Is Olivia gone forever or the mental break? Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard about that. So I watched the Vanguard video on that. And apparently Olivia, I feel like Olivia was like the only redeeming quality of age 3. She was like the only one that I think people still like watched, and now she's gone, and she took a mental health break, and it was because, well, I don't know if it was because this, but a lot of people think it's because they were talking about Love Island, and I don't watch Love Island. Okay, I watched Love is Blind, I don't know, I watch some of them sometimes. It depends on who's in it and what it is. I watched the Queer Ultimatum. That was fun. But anyway, I didn't watch Love Island, but apparently on Love Island, there was this guy and this girl, and the girl wanted to like cuddle and he didn't. And people were saying that like the way she reacted, if a guy reacted, that it would be like SA. And that's what Ethan was saying. And apparently Olivia has experienced that. And so she was sitting with Hila and Olivia, and they were talking about Love Island. And I guess Ethan had called in, and they were like gaslighting Olivia and saying that, no, that would have been SA. You're defending SA. You're defending this horrible shit. Like, why would you defend that? And she started crying, and she had to literally like leave, and had to leave the studio because she was like crying. And it turns out, actually, because Ethan was saying that this girl was like groping him and stuff, even when he said he didn't want to. And apparently that's actually not what happened at all. And he was just gaslighting her into thinking that that's what happened, even though that's not what actually happened in the show. And so he was like trying to make her feel like she was defending SA, and it made her cry, and she walked off set. And a lot of people are saying that's where this came from and why she had to take the mental health break. And honestly, like, that's so fucked up when you think about it, because Ethan was like gaslighting her. He probably didn't even watch it. He probably didn't even know. And he was just coming up with shit and just like gaslighting her. And that just like, it does show me that he's like a narcissist and that there's something like actually wrong with him, because that's what narcissists and people like that do, is they gaslight you and they lie to you, and when you crash out or when you cry or when you get emotional, they feel like they have some sort of power over you, and that they have some sort of power over you, and that they control your emotions and how you react, much like my story with my uncle. And so, no, it was really hard to watch, honestly. And I watched it because the Vanguard was reacting to it. And it was hard to watch, and I felt really bad for her. And it was really fucked up, honestly. And Hila went along with it too. And listen, I don't like Hila. I don't feel it. Listen, I don't like her either. Oh, that was the other thing Ethan said. Ethan said that Hassan wanted what happened to Charlie Kirk to happen to Hila. Ethan also said that, which is just insane, which is the most insane shit I think I've ever heard in my life. And when I read it, I was like, Ethan really doesn't care. if someone gets hurt. Like, he just doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care about anything. He just wants to prove that he's right. He just wants people to think that he's right and he's the one on top and he's the one winning. And that's all he wants. And it's honestly just disgusting to see, truthfully. That the whole Ethan Olivia thing was insane. Let me know if you want me to look into the whole, like, Adam and Ethan and Alexa thing. I don't know what it's all about, but let me know if you want me to look into it, and I will. The other thing that Ethan did is he went after Adam Friedland when Adam Friedland was talking to Richie Torres, and was basically going after him and saying, oh, he's like the good Jewish person. We might talk about that on Wednesday, because I watched a video about that too, and that deserves like diving into deeper, because he was basically like lying about Adam Friedland and was like, oh, he's just probably one of those Jewish people that's like never lived in Israel or never done anything in Israel and just blah blah blah. And even what's his face had to, God, I forgot his name. I forgot Dan. Even Dan had to chime in and be like, no, like he went to Israel, like his family's from there, like, you know, and then like had to like, not from there. I think he said that they're from South Africa, but I think his family has like lived there and stuff like that. And so Dan had to push back and be like, no, like that's not true, because Ethan was trying to be like, he just want another one of those people that just like, you know, so he just hates America and he doesn't really know about Israel, and like he probably just doesn't know, and and he lived there at least a year. Exactly. And so Ethan was trying to say that like Adam had no ties to Israel. He didn't have any family there. He's never lived there. He's never whatever. And Dan had to be like, no, that's not true. Because he was just trying to say, oh, he just wants to be the good Jewish person. And that's why he has to fight back. Like he doesn't actually like care about what's going on. And he was raised as Zionist. Yeah, Adam was raised as Zionist, and he talks about it. And we'll probably watch that, because I actually want to talk about that more. But it was really disgusting what Ethan was saying about Adam Friedland. And Adam Friedland was being so just like open and honest about his feelings and how he felt. And Ethan was almost like mocking it. And it was really disgusting, honestly, personally. But yeah, we'll have to go deeper into that one day, because that is a crazy thing that he did. All right, we're nearing the end of this stream, but I wanted to watch a fun video before we got off, because I know things have been so insane, and this is actually one of the fun things that I wanted to talk about earlier last week, and so we're going to talk about it now, because it's bizarre, but it's also funny. So Trump has been posting these weird ass videos online. And we're gonna watch one of them because it's fucking weird. So we're gonna do that. Sounds like even Ethan is a cyberbully. He is, and he's like blaming everybody else, even though he's the one. Like he's the one who's been going after. He is a cyberbully. Ethan is a cyberbully, and he's been going after everyone, and he just doesn't see himself that way. And like, because if Ethan would stop going after Hassan, like I don't think Hassan would talk about Ethan at all. Like he hasn't even really talked about him all that much recently, because there are more important things going on, obviously. But like, if Ethan would just have just stopped going after him and going after everybody else, he wouldn't be talking about him. He wouldn't be talking about Ethan. And so that's the craziest part about all of this. Same with Taylor Lorenz. Like if Ethan just stopped harassing people and going after them, people wouldn't be having this back and forth. So it's just stupid. Okay, anyway, so wait. I gotta preface this. Okay, so this is so the White House is, their whole social media is just deranged, right? Very deranged. Their whole social media is just deranged. But recently, this was very recent. Recently, they posted this video, and it's like this, it's like the business bro, like hustle bro culture type shit, you know, and they posted a video like this, and it's like the 10 lessons of life from Donald Trump. It's just psychotic, but this is that video.
Lessons I've learned from a lifetime spent building dreams. First, if you think that you're too young to do something great, let me tell you that you are wrong. You're not too young. In America, with drive and ambition, young people can do anything. Second of all, and very important,
he was literally a Nepo baby, and he literally has bankrupted casinos and has bankrupted almost every single business that he's had, and he has been sued for his college. So crazy, because not true. Crazy because not true, for his sake anyway. Not that it's not true that you can't, like, whatever. I don't know. I don't like the whole, like, you can do anything if you just work hard enough, because I feel like a lot of people say that, and I don't feel like practically that's true. And yeah, I hate when people say that, honestly. But honestly, but I'm just saying, like, he's using himself as this, as like the evidence of that, and I'm like, dude, you literally, like, you bankrupted almost every business you've had. Like, what are you saying right now? And if you talk to people who are Trump supporters, they'll literally be like, well, no, he did that because he's smart. And I'm like, what reality are we living in? Okay, you have to love what you do. Okay, that's the next, that lesson two is that you have to love what you do.
you have to love what you do. I rarely see somebody that's successful that doesn't love what he or she does. Third thing is to think big. You know, you're going to do something, you might as well think big, because it's just as hard to solve a small problem as a big problem, and it's just as much energy and everything else, except the result is going to be a smaller one. So love what you do, but think big for.
That one got me when I was first watching this, because I'm like, what does that even mean? You gotta think big, because if you're solving a big problem or a small problem, it has the same energy when you're figuring out a small problem as a big problem, but the results for a big problem is they're like, this is insane. Like, this is insane. And they're doing this as like, believe in the American dream. President Donald J. Trump's 11 life-changing lessons. This is like straight out of the like manosphere, like hustle culture bullshit. That's what this is. Oh my God. Trump's building a discotheque there, honestly. But the college gave the college gave him an attorney general. True. Pam Bondi went very easy on him in that. Now she's the attorney general. I wonder why he got from those kitty. I love it when he does his patent and insane weave. I know. Well, no, I'm just like listening and I'm like, what? Also, it's funny because, like, again, I used to fall for this shit, right? Only on like the girl boss side, you know. I did fall for all that like girl boss shit, right? And it's just funny watching it now, because all of it is just such bullshit, right? Like none of it's like actual real advice on how to like navigate in the world or like navigate this shit. It's just always very like surface level bullshit that means nothing, right? Like, oh, you can do anything if you just work hard enough. You can just do anything. Just think big, you know. It's the same. His answer didn't even make sense. His just, oh, the big problems and the small problems, they're all the same. Like none of this means anything. Like, this is all bullshit. It's all surface level shit that doesn't mean anything, right? He is a Nepo baby, okay? The reason he is so successful is because he was born into wealth, okay? There is like, and he has failed almost spectacularly at almost everything he's ever done, and yet he's become like this fail son and has become president because we live in an insane nation that believes this shit. Work hard. Just surface level bullshit. Work hard. Just work hard. But simultaneously, they don't believe that people who have like 2 or 3 jobs just to survive are working hard. Okay.
Work hard. Fifth is don't lose your momentum. You just want to keep it going, and you have to know if you are losing it, you have to know when you're losing it, so maybe you stop and maybe it's time to stop. Number 6, if you want to change.
Doesn't that go against? go against what he was saying though? He was like, you've got to keep your momentum. But if you're losing it, then just stop. See, it's so funny because they're trying to make this like, again, they're trying to make this so like, oh my gosh, oh God, I'm just reading this. Oh God, something happened in Texas. Oh God, I'm not looking into that right now. We don't care. This is fun. Anyway, so anyway. So this is just so funny because it's just like in the same sentence, he's like, we want you to work, we want you to keep up the momentum, but if it's not working, then maybe you should just quit. And I like that I think it's funny that they have those little explainers in there because it's all just like bullshit and none of it makes any sense and it's all just like word salad. And it's so funny because this is supposed to be like inspirational, but it doesn't even mean anything. Okay. What's lesson 6?
The world, you have to have the courage to be an outsider. In other words, you have to take certain risks and do things a little bit differently. Otherwise, if that weren't the case, everybody would be successful.
I've always thought it's insane that he continues to be seen as this outsider because, like, I guess in the beginning he kind of was because he wasn't a politician, but like he's even admitted that like when he was debating Hillary Clinton that like he's given money to all of these people and he's donated to all of these people, so like they're beholden to him, and so he was still in that powerful realm. And so it always just bothers me that people really do see him as this outsider, especially now because he's been president before. But it's just like I've never understood that characterization of him, and it's just very frustrating that people see him as like this outsider. Like he's literally a nepo baby who has always been surrounded by power, who what that doesn't make him an outsider for the rest of everyone who are making the decisions. Like by definition, it makes him a part of it. It makes him an insider. But whatever, you know. Wait, go, stop, wait. They're eating. Oh my God.
Number 7 is to trust your instincts, common sense. You can go very far
like
in life with common sense. 8th, everybody should believe in the American dream. It's real.
See, and that's why they're doing this. That's why they're doing this, because they know shit's going to hit the fan economically, because they posted this September 1st. So that's what I was saying. It's pretty recent. I think that's why they're doing this, because they know that shit's hitting the fan economically and shit's going to continue to hit the fan economically. And so they're like, wait, here is this hustle bro shit. So you think that it's just on you and it's your fault if you're struggling and it's your fault if you're not, you know, like Donald Trump and successful as Donald Trump, even though he was a nepo baby that has gotten everything handed to him. Here's how you can be like him. Just work really hard and just believe that you can. Just believe in the American dream. And that's why they're doing this, because they're like, look, the American dream's not gone. You can still believe in it, even though it's increasingly impossible. That's what this is. This is state propaganda here.
It's there and it's right before you. 9th, think of yourself as a winner. The power of positive thinking. In recent years, too many of our young people have really been taught to think of themselves as victims. But in America, we reject that idea that anyone is born a victim. Our heroes are the ones who take charge of their own destiny despite the odds. And next,
they take charge of their own destiny despite the odds. And that's why this kind of rhetoric is so insidious, because it really does put the onus on you. And it's like, if you're not successful, if you're not a billionaire, if you're not a millionaire, that's your fault and that's on you. And again, this is coming from someone who is a nepo baby who got everything handed to him, and like, he is not, like, the reason he is where he is not because of hard work and grit, you know? And so it's so insidious, because it really, the reason people feel the way they do, and the reason things are getting increasingly violent, is because of this insidious rhetoric of like, it's on you if you're not successful, if you're not where you want to be, that's your fault and you're the problem, and why can't you just work harder? When there are people who work very, very hard, and there are people who work 2 to 3 jobs and they still have a hard time getting by. And so, and that's why they're like, no matter the odds, you can do it. And that's just not reality. And it's especially not reality when we don't have any social safety nets in this country. And there's essentially, like, especially if you have children, there's essentially no help when it comes to childcare or anything like that. And so there's so many factors that factor into why people are not billionaires or millionaires, and it comes from and everyone feels like they need to aspire to be in that place, but most people, that is not attainable. Majority of people, that is not attainable. And so they're trying to sell you this false reality, this false dream, and it's not realizing that it's not being the victim. It's realizing the reality of the matter, and they're trying to make you think that no, it's not policy, it's not, social safety nets, it's you, and you're just lazy and you don't work hard enough. And like that's the whole point of this.
Is to be an original. The all-time greats were people who had the confidence to be a little different. God only created one of you, so don't try to be someone else. Finally, and most importantly, never, ever give up. I've learned that...
But what about when you lost the momentum? Maybe you should just stop. What about that? So never give up unless you lose momentum.
Perseverance is everything, so whatever happens, no matter where you are in life, stay optimistic and just keep pushing forward. Never let anyone tell you that something is impossible, ever, ever, ever. In America, the impossible is what we all do best.
Oh God, it's so sickening. It's just so sickening. It really is. It's just so sickening. Okay, I'm broke. I have no control over my fate. Bootstrapping. Exactly. Way to see blonde, brunette, or ginger. Impossibly stupid. Yeah. No, outsider billionaire. Exactly. Way to see blonde, brunette, or ginger. I lost track. I don't know. And that's if you do watch my lives, you know that I had not an argument, but like a conversation with someone who was like a liberal who hated Donald Trump and was saying this is fascist, we're living in fascism. They were saying all of that, but then when it got to like economics, they were like, well, some people just need to pull themselves up with the bootstraps. And I was like, I got so frustrated in that conversation, and I had to kind of like tone it down, because I'm like, okay, I'm talking to a random person. I need to be normal. But I didn't try to get into this conversation. Okay, this lady started talking to me. All right, I was in line behind her, and she just started talking to me. All right, because she was talking to the cashier about all of this, right? Because apparently they knew each other. But that was the whole thing. She was like, well, some people, they just need to do better. You can make an LLC for like whatever. And I'm like, bro, see, and that's the other thing. Like, people think that like, oh, you can just go on YouTube. You can just start a business. You can just do all these things. You can just do it. It's so easy. Just do it. Bro, first of all, like, you need money to do a lot of this stuff. To start a business, you need money. To get an LLC, you need money. And I had to tell her that. I'm like, well, what if people can't afford to get an LLC? She's like, oh, well, it's like $30 or whatever. I'm like, yeah, people are paying their bills, though. Like, people still need to pay their bills. And if they have children or if they have people that they're taking care of, they still need to take care of that. So an extra $30 isn't just like someone that everybody can do. And like, what does just making an LLC do? What does that do? What do you mean just make an LLC? Okay, and then what? Then what do you do? It's like, God, I was getting so frustrated with her, because I was like, listen, we need better social safety nets, and people are struggling, and it's because wages haven't kept up with inflation, and now everyone is struggling, and you need more and more money to get by, and everything's costing more and more. So to be like, oh, well, just do this, just start a YouTube. And it's like, even with YouTube, people want to act like it's so easy. It's not easy. It is not easy, okay? It is very difficult to get even monetized or to get any money from it. Like, it is a very difficult endeavor. So like, people who are doing it are people who do it and they stick it out and they do it. It's because they actually want to do it, And so all these people who are like, just do this, just do that, obviously have not tried to do any of this, because they don't realize that it's not just like some get rich quick scheme. All of these people online, and they drive me crazy. And again, I used to fall for this shit, but like all of these people online who are like, oh, just do this. And it's always the print on demand shit. And there's this lady and 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, you just need to do print on demand. This is how I made like $1 million. This is how I made $1 million on YouTube. And they're like, you can do it too. But how they're making all this money is actually like the coaching courses and like and believe me, I was seeped into this shit. Okay. I took I was a major in entrepreneurship. Okay. I was seeped into this shit, right? And so this is how they make their money. It's not by actually the print on demand stuff. It's not actually by being on YouTube. It's by selling those people who are desperate and want to make more money. It is by selling them courses and selling them all this shit and trying to make them believe that they can just do it too, when 9 times out of 10, that's not how it works. Okay. And it's funny because like when you interact with these people and you know that like, not that not everyone doesn't know what they're doing. Like I'm sure there are some people who have courses or who have shit that, you know, it actually is helpful for people, but you know, it's just selling dreams. Like it's just not like, it's just not, that's not what they're selling you. And there's this girl on my Instagram that I follow, and I follow her out of spite because every time I see her on my page, she's like, learn how I made like $100 some on these mugs and I get so mad every time because I'm like, I'm convinced that this she does not make money from that. I'm like convinced. I'm like, she's just selling people like courses and shit, and I like following her in spite because I get so mad, which is probably not healthy, but I get so mad because every time I see it, I'm like, you're not doing that shit. I'm like, that's not real. Stop selling all these lies to people. But that's what it is, and that's like all amateurs rappers are. You know, and it's really funny because I was in the music scene before this, and it's true. Like, if you think music, that you can just do music and you're just going to do great, it is very difficult, okay? And most people, when you're just starting out, they're like, oh, what's the exposure? That's how we're going to pay you. And it's like, okay. So a lot of these people who make it big or get places, it's because their family either already has resources or they already know people, or they're already connected with people who have resources and are powerful. And like it's never really because like there may be some where it's because of hard work, but a lot of it is like luck, and a lot of it is who you know, and that's how you become these successful people. Now, some people, like I said, sometimes it is just really like hard work and doing it, but even with me, like I'm doing this and like it, you know, I had to spend my money on getting like a microphone and stuff, and like I feel like I'm in a privileged position that I'm even able to buy like a microphone and a camera. Well, it's just like a little webcam, but anyway, you know, I feel like, you know, me just even being able to buy that was a lot for me. and you know, there was a few weeks where it was, you know, a little hard because I bought all this shit, but I'm just saying, like, even that is just like a leg up for me that I was even able to get this stuff. There are some people who wouldn't be able to get all this stuff, and so it's just like unrealistic to think that just because you can do something, or just because you started in this certain place, means that everybody else can do it too, and everybody else has started from the same place. And I was trying to explain that to this lady in line when I was getting my adapter from my Ethernet thing so I could plug my Ethernet in. Thank you, Walk Miles, for that suggestion. But when I was buying that adapter, that's the conversation I got in. And it was really insane, honestly. I'm not Chad enough to be a Oh my God. Do you know how many people I've talked to who are like, I've literally thought about selling feet pics? But even stuff like that, but like even like OnlyFans and stuff like that, it's not like you just go on there and that's it. You get so much money now. Like, no, it's like you have to keep doing it until you get a following. Like, it's a similar thing. It's not just a get rich quick scheme. And that's what a lot of people think a lot of this is, or that's what a lot of people they try to say it is, so that way they can sell courses and try to like sell people dreams and think that they're just gonna get this rich quick scheme, which is not true. Which is also why AI is very popular, because now everyone's like, oh, you can just do AI and you don't have to do any of the work, and look, AI. That's a different conversation for a different day though. All right. My feet aren't manly, they're tiny. My feet are gross. That's why I would never do that, because mine are just like gross. I feel like I always call them like Flintstone feet. My feet are very flat, and so I feel like they literally look, I feel like they're like Flintstone feet. Like I feel like I don't know if that's popular. I don't know. Anyway. What? I know. I share too much about myself. I need to stop, really. It's truly... I really think I need to not do that. No, my feet are just like wide and flat. And so to me, I've always called them like Flintstone feet, you know? Because like in the Flintstones, their feet are very like flat and wide. And or were you saying when I mentioned you, I said thank you for telling me about plugging my Ethernet in for my internet. And so I did that, and I got the converter, and that's when I got into that. And I don't know why, and never mind. Okay, anyway, that's why I mentioned you, if that's what you're saying. What? Anyway, okay, so that's the end of the stream. We're gonna stop talking about me and stop talking about all my lore, because I have shared a lot today. All right, so let's... Oh, damn it, Creflo, I am so sorry. I didn't update my members. Shit. Oh my gosh. Actually, wait a second. What if I do it right now? Okay, well, we're going to continue talking, and I'm going to update it because I feel bad. I feel bad. I feel silly. Why didn't I update it? Okay, so anyway, I shared a lot today. I'm going to update my membership thing. Let me just do a plug. If you want to join my membership... Please do. I'm going to record something for my members after this, I think. And so let's see. Ballsy stream. Why was it ballsy? Because I told about, because I talked about so much lore. I know. It's really insane. Sometimes I'm like, I should probably not say so much, but it's okay. I enjoy it. Okay. Anyway, okay, so now let's go.